Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, a show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be talking about, or compiling a list of, the top 10 RTS games of all time. I say of all time, our personal all-time list. Ooh. I am joined by two lovely gentlemen to help me round out with their knowledge a bit about the old RTS games. In the same room back there, over there, Mr. Fruity Sammer, how's it going, good sir?
It is going well. It has been a while since I've done something like this.
It's like I'm in shock. Currently in shock for it. And also joined by the one and only Mr. donHaize. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Very well, thank you. Very well. Great to be here, and thank you for having me.
Well, I needed some people that had some knowledge of RTS games, and quite frankly, there's no one else I know. So you kind of got roped into this.
Some being the key word.
Yeah. So just to lay down...
Just the two people, actually.
Yeah.
Well, there's one other person, but he's definitely not going to want to do this. So, just to give people context of how this is going to work, we're going to take it in turns to name an RTS game and keep it. We're going to try and keep it brief, just sort of our reasons for why we think it should be potentially nominated for this top 10 list. And then once we've got maybe about 20 games, like around then, we're going to start chopping away at them. And the way that's going to work is someone's going to pick a game, say why they don't think it should be on the list. If it's 2-1, in whichever way, whether it goes or stays, that's it. So regardless of how I feel about X game, if these two want it to stay, then it stays. It's as simple as that. I know that some of these RTS games might differ from knowledge to knowledge per person, but that's kind of the fun of it, because we've got different experiences with different games. So we haven't really picked an order. Does anybody have a strong preference of going first, or shall I take the lead?
Go for it.
Don't mind.
Okay.
The host.
Okay, cool.
Hostess with the mostest.
Well, yeah, something like that. Anyway, right. So I want to make this list interesting. I think there's plenty of games there that we know are going to be on here. So I'm going to start off with one a little bit different, and I'm going to pick Pikmin 1. And now this is more of a console RTS game. Oops, I'll run it on the screen for people to see. So Pikmin 1 is a game that you play as Captain Olimar, and it is essentially you have these little Pikmin that are creatures. They have different colours, they have different abilities, and you chuck them around. And you basically have a game that is designed for a controller. One of the best RTS games designed for a controller, unlike, there are other games that came out, things like Command & Conquer, Red Alert, that were put on like Xbox and PlayStation. But as we all know, RTS games work best with a mouse. But Pikmin did it in a way that was very unique, very Nintendo, but it also worked really well. Like it was very easy to fire out the Pikmin that you want, strategize with them, fire off a different set otherwise. And I honestly think, like, in terms of games that did something for the RTS genre on console, I think Pikmin is very cute, but it also it handles so well. And I think because of that, in my opinion, it's definitely up there as something. Even though I prefer the second game, I think the first game was very innovative at the time. So that's my first pick. So I'm going with Pikmin. So should we do it? We'll do it on screen ways. It's me, then Dave, and Jack. So Dave, pick a game.
Cool. I'm not sure which way around I was.
Yeah, that's all good.
So gonna go with the first one I played. So Age of Empires 2.
Oh,
it was the first one I played, and pretty much the only thing that would run on my really crappy laptop in like the 2000s. That I used for like schoolwork. And yeah, it was the first one I played. Really liked all the skirmishy modes, the multiplayer, so much content, all the units, all the abilities. Yeah, it's kind of what taught me the genre. So, also it's just legendary, isn't it?
1999, I think, is when it came out, and I think a lot of people played this.
Yeah, it would have been a bit later for me. It probably would have been like 2002 or 2003, probably, when I actually played it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. All right, Jack, hit us with your first game.
I feel like some of these are probably going to be said anyway, so I'm going to go with something that I think one of you definitely played, one of you may not have done, but Stronghold, the original.
Oh, nice.
The original RTS castle sim. So very wide range of units and kind of how you build your stuff. Just so many iconic voice lines. Is literally comedy gold. I mean, it's so funny. You play the game and you just have a great time. It's just a real good, feels good game. The music's absolutely phenomenal. Works really well with the game itself. and is one of the OG RTS games. One of the, I wouldn't say the first, but it's definitely up there as being one of the first RTS games that I played. Yeah, I just think it's a really, really fun game, and hopefully should feels like it should make the cut on this list.
It's strong words for me, but I still think it's the best one in the series. It's the first game. They nailed it so well the first time.
No, definitely. I think there's some other games within the series that did well, like Crusader, but honestly, I think Stronghold the OG is just, it is the best. It's the original, and they nailed it. It's hard, even, I like the remastered, but something about the original, man. It still hits.
Yeah, 100%. I think that game is it's just everything came together really well, and like even the subsequent HD version and then the definitive edition and stuff like that, like the game just aged like a fine wine.
Right.
All right. What do I want to pick out here? I'm gonna go with something a little bit different, but I don't know. I feel like it's deserved, and that is the original Dungeon Keeper. Slightly different to your average RTS game, kind of a combination of RTS, first person, and also like God game. But Dungeon Keeper is just legendary for combining the elements of you play as, it's good to be evil essentially. You play as the bad guys. You go from realm to realm, destroying them and converting them, while using goblins and spiders and trolls and the horned demon and all this, making elaborate like underground dungeons, and one of the like incredible atmosphere, incredible voice lines, fantastic voiceover. I forgot the guy's name, but like the speech for each level once you complete it and finish it. Oh my god, so good, and tons of humor. Like, very lots of dumb stuff happens in these games, and like the way that it's commented on by the narrator and things like that. Like there's lines in it, like things like your creatures are fighting amongst themselves and you just see them have a massive fight in the middle, or like your creatures are unhappy because you haven't paid them and you're like, oh Christ, so I got to scramble to do that. And one of the other things about it was the mouse was an on-screen hand, and if people weren't working hard enough, you could slap them. So it's definitely a game that I think has influenced a lot of the God genre specifically. But as an RTS, combining those elements, combining the elements of like first person, like melee combat as well, and some first person shooter elements, it's just a very, very creative game, and just honestly one of the ones that I remember playing as younger and just very much enjoying. So that's my second pick.
Fair play.
David.
Nice. Yeah, good shot. I didn't even consider Dungeon Keeper as an RTS, to be honest. Yeah, fair show.
Kind of make me think of other like management-y games, that kind of God Simmy kind of games.
There's a few of them, and I think there's arguments for them.
Fair play.
Yeah. Well, you're up. What's next?
So I was thinking other ones that are kind of weird. I think I will, cause I just was watching some footage of the game again, the one I mentioned in the pre-show. But yeah, Brutal Legend, I think is probably going to have to be on the list. I don't think either of you have actually played it.
I watched some gameplay of it, but we're talking like 20 years ago. I don't, because it starts off as like one genre, doesn't it? And then I think
so it starts off as like a brawler. You're like basically you're Jack Black, and you're in the fantasy world, and there's like so many different musicians and people in it. There's like Lenny, there's like so many people, and there's like different music related things. There's another reason why I like the game so much. Like one of the quests, you have to go to this like spider to get like the thickest bass strings you can find, so Lenny can like heal your teammate.
Yeah.
And stuff like that's really weird. But when you get to like the halfway point of the game, it becomes an RTS. So it's like third person, like over the shoulder. You're running around hitting stuff with your guitar, but then you start to get fans.
Yeah.
So fans become like your resource generators, and then you then build like merch booths to then like use the fans to make money, so you can like then buy upgrades and like build towers, and like it becomes like a weird RTS on top of like still being like a first person, you kind of ball. I guess kind of like All Orcs Must Die kind of style-ish, where you got like you build all the other things, but you can still like hit things as like your own character. And yeah, it's this really weird fusion. I can't think of any other game like it.
It's very unique.
Yeah, it's a very weird game. But yeah, I looked on Wikipedia, and the second genre is RTS. So I was like, it must count.
Nice.
Yeah, good game. But yeah, really weird.
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to play because it does sound really bizarre, but also kind of cool.
It's one of those games that they can never really remaster because of like all the
Licensing,
royalties and like all that kind of stuff. And also, just the age of musicians as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my oddball pick.
Nice. All right, Jack. What's your next pick then?
Well, since we're going with oddball picks, let's go with a game that I played a lot when I was younger. I don't think it really got much love in the RTS community, but I really, really liked it. It's called Rise of Nations.
I've heard of that.
Specifically the extended edition. It's very much an alternative take on, I guess, the Age of Empires series. It's probably the closest game I can think of that kind of mirrors it. Yeah, you get a load of different factions. They all play very differently. It's kind of like had a conquer the world type campaign. So you pick your nation and then you seek to take territories and then you try and conquer the world in that regard. Very similar to Emperor Battle for June in that regard. But yeah, I really liked it. I think there's like 18 different nations, something in that region.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just lots of a very nice art style. A little bit more modern, came out a little bit later than Age of Empires 2, I think. But yeah, I really liked it. I mean, it seems to be quite positive in terms of its reviews and whatnot, so it still seems to hold up well, but I don't think we ever really saw anything beyond the extended edition. I could be wrong, but I don't recall anything coming out beyond that. And it seems like unfortunately, a bit of a dead IP, but I'd love to see that come back.
I could be wrong. I thought there was a sequel, but I might be mistaken that was something else. But I think I vaguely remember this game. I remember people at the time talking about it, like other friends that I knew, but I don't think I've ever played it myself. But yeah, I could be wrong. You know, it's just something I just lost from memory. But I do remember this game being widely praised when it came out.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. I think it's definitely deserving to be potentially on this list as an oddball pick, certainly.
Yeah. That's the good thing is there's a lot of good RTS games. So
it's true.
There are plenty of choice.
Oh, yeah. Alrighty. I think you know what? Like I'm gonna keep putting it off, so I'm gonna do this now. I'm nominating Emperor Battle for June. Probably my personal favorite RTS game of all time.
I was expecting this to happen.
Yeah, I'm a huge Dune fan anyway. I like the older games, and I think while Emperor Battle for June, like graphically not the best looking thing now, but what I've always liked about that game is it's fairly easy to get into, but it did the one thing I like about more modern RTS games, where it really made each faction play very differently, like look different, play different. And like apart from like basic units like a scout or like a machine gunner, every unit is completely unique to the faction. So like, you know, if you play like the Atreides, you've got much more like high tech like walkers and bipedal things and all about well-trained infantry. Harkonnen were more about brute force and low-tech stuff, and then all those were like all lasers and hover and like no matter which faction you played, you got a completely different experience, and I absolutely loved it. I think the everything about that game, like just soundtrack and even though the visuals are a bit weak, like the way the game looked and the way the game played, and yeah, honestly, like to me, it's still one of the easiest RTS games to play today. It might be a little basic compared to like some other games, but I think I quite appreciate the fact that it's power. You know, your resources are power and spice, which is your money, and then they sped it up from previous Dune games, so it's a lot more focused on getting large armies and skirmishing with other people. And you know, also you get to ride giant worms, so what's not to like about that? So yeah, definitely for me personally, it's like probably my favorite RTS game of all time. So I couldn't not have it, like at least attempt to get it in the top 10, right? So
Fair enough.
big fan.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Great game. Yeah. All right. Well, fire away, Mr. Dave.
Yeah. So I was doing my usual thing where I completely forget the like titles for like all the Command and Conquer ones. So it's Red Alert 3, isn't it? The one with all the Tim Curry and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, Red Alert 3.
Nice, good choice.
Just wanted to make sure I got the right one. There's like so many different games, so I get confused between them. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of legendary, isn't it? Really, like even just like all the videos,
FMVs in there.
Yeah, the FMVs are just so good. You got George Takei as well. You got like it's just amazing. Unit design, amazing. Like the Soviet bears, the dolphins of a
It's very tongue in cheek, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just kind of like amazing, like all the Tesla towers and like it's just great. Like it's all just so nice. Like it still looks really good as well, and like still plays well.
It's I think it's that sort of cheesiness. Like you look at all of the actors they hired, all like famous people and whatnot, and then the cheesiness and the way that units are designed. I love it.
Yeah, it's very like hammy.
Yeah.
It's very it's got that kind of like Cold War-y kind of like propaganda-y side to it as well. How all the characters talk and everything, and like it's just great.
No, it is. It's one of my favourite games to go back to as well. I like the expansion because the expansion added even more actors, like Ric Flair's in the expansion. It's like they just kept hiring different people. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, all the time travel and just so good.
And obviously Tim Curry having some of the best lines in the entire game.
Yeah, George Takei as well has some great lines as the Emperor.
Yeah, he is good.
Also, just like oh god, just think about the giant mechs and stuff now with the Empires. Is Empire of the Sun?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's. I wonder. Like, hopefully they seem to do it in a way that was fairly tasteful, right? But so still very cheesy.
As tasteful as like any 80s like schlocky like action film is. It's very much
Yeah.
It's not meant to be serious in any kind of way.
Yeah. I'm glad you picked that because I think that would have been my next choice. So, all right, cool. All right, Jack, hit us with your next one.
Cool. I'm gonna go with another blast from the past before we get into the big ones. I think from my side, I'm gonna go with Battle Realms. Some of you may have come across this one. I think Levi, you may have played it or at least may know about it.
I watched you play it.
But it's it's another Age of Empires-esque game, but with a heavy focus on heroes, martial arts, and Oriental mythology. It seems to be less focused on having like hundreds of units on screen at any one time, and more about having a small number of like powerful units with like abilities and impactful micro, that type of thing. But it was a very very old game. I think it was 2001 from what I looked up previously. And I was like, yeah, do you know what? I remember this game. I haven't played it I haven't literally played it since probably about 2001. So my memory of this is somewhat diminished, but I do remember it being a really impactful game. There's been expansions, and I believe they're in the process of remaking it as well, which is I'm very, very excited for.
It's on Steam in early access currently, like a full-blown like update version of it. So it's only like £7 as well. It's very cheap.
That's incredible. But that's definitely a day one purchase for me. But I remember it being very impactful. Popular, I remember it being a really fun game.
It had a multiplayer scene, didn't it? If I remember rightly. Like
probably, it wouldn't surprise me. I remember it mostly for the campaign. I don't think I ever played multiplayer on it, but I remember it being quite a fun campaign, quite a long one as well. I think there's like 3 different campaigns, and then the expansion brought out even more.
Yeah, I was just watching some footage of it. It's just like, It does look really good.
It is unique because all I remember
Seems
about
very
it is,
Blizzard-like.
Yeah.
The character models and that. Looking at it,
Yeah.
like the color palette and that. Yeah.
I think it'd be
Cool.
closer to Warcraft if you're going to go down the Blizzard route of games.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the sort of focus on heroes.
no, it was.
Yeah.
I remember it being good. Like, just had that like. I remember like you have to like get the guys to go out in like the rice fields and like that's like harvest to get resources that way, and then like, yeah, you know, send off the heroes to go and wail on other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, that's my choice for my essentials.
Nice. I don't know if it's going to come up. There's one game that I'm thinking you could mention, but maybe you've used up too many of the wacky ones.
Yeah, probably.
What do they want to? Do you know what? Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go with Supreme Commander. I was toss up between Total Annihilation, Supreme Commander, but I just think Supreme Commander is one of the best modern examples of RTS games that go for that whole. You get huge armies. The battlefields are massive. You've got like your own like commander mech that's massive. You use that to build buildings, and you just get huge conflict in the middle of the field. Like, you know, we're talking like 50, 100, 200 units just like having a fight.
Oh, I've seen this before.
Yeah, like you can zoom out and like watch like the bullets flying on the map and stuff like that. Like, it was the spiritual successor to Total Annihilation. But I think I know this and the expansion, which was Forged Alliance, was so well loved at the time. I used to like playing. There's 3 different teams, and they had like one had like sort of hover tech and whatnot, and then you also got crazy huge units, like massive. Like one of them got a massive flying saucer, like giant, even bigger mechs, like assault barges. Like the game is just like power fantasy. The game, it's fantastic.
Oh, I think I saw this, but it was on console.
Supreme Commander 2 was, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
of.
Supreme Commander 2, a lot of people don't like. I don't mind it. It is a little bit dumbed down. I still like it. But
Probably why it's on console.
Yeah, it is a little bit easier to do. But Supreme Commander 1 was just, if you like the idea of building a massive base and like building, you know, 50 different machine shops and they're all building different units and you're just chucking them into the grinder across. It's just like, and you build like massive cannons that could fire halfway across the map. It was basically like, how big can we go? How much can we scale up? And I just remember playing this game and like never finished any of the campaigns, just playing a stupid amount of skirmishes and honestly really like, it was a good story in it, but it was just watching like just tons of units like running together, and then after the fights ended you could just see all the metal scrap left over and you could go and harvest it up. It was phenomenal game, really really fun. Bit on the slower side for RTS to start with because you got to get things running, but once you did, you just pumped everything out. So yeah, Supreme Commander's my my next pick. So, Mr. Davis.
Nice.
Yeah, I was yeah, David continuing his thing of being the most basic one. So I guess maybe it's a Brutal Legend. But yeah, of the ones that like everyone's going to assume is on this like top 10 list.
Yeah.
Thinking Age of Empires 4.
Ooh.
Because I really liked that game. Unfortunately, I haven't really played any of the multiplayer. But I have watched some competitive multiplayer. I quite like it as a competitive game. But I just really liked the like Discovery Channel videos where they would talk about like how a trebuchet works and like talk about like how these things work. I was like, oh, I really like this. It's like really weird and unusual. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the campaign as well. I mean, the campaigns are always good in the Age of Empire games, but I really like it because you can learn. It's more historical than like a lot of these games are. Like, it's really cool learning about like on one of the ones is like Russia, and you get to see like the early like beginning of like the Russian country, and like you get through the wars, like the Mongols, and like it's really cool. Yeah, I was like, oh, I've learnt a lot about like this, which I never would have done before this game. And yeah,
I think that was a cool
Just
concept.
double down on that. Age of Empires 4, yeah, really, really good game. I love the cinematics. So basically, at the end and start of every mission, you kind of get well, the sort of start of the mission to try and tell you about the cinematic of what's going on in history. And then afterwards, you get like all these random little things like how to build a castle and how how these like musketeers and like how crossbows were reloaded and what they did to like enhance it. It was like really, really like interesting more than anything.
Yeah, it's like how this is how a crane worked when they're like building a castle. It shows you like the medieval cranes. Yeah.
This is how they used to paint walls back in the medieval era. It's like, damn, that's so fascinating.
Yeah. Such a fun game. Also, it looks really nice as well. I think the art style is really nice. Still kind of cartoony, but like, still just looks really nice.
I think going like the historical context of things is probably one of the smartest things they could have done, because like I know that people think of like the old Age of Empires trying to be like, you know, historical, but like they actually took it to a whole new level with like you said, like how these things are built, how do these things work. So you're not only playing a game, you know, that a lot of people really enjoy the gameplay of, you're also actually learning something. And I think, you know what, if they can do it in a fun way, like, awesome.
Yeah, it was really well made. It's really fun. And also, another thing I really liked is like the different victory conditions as well in the multiplayer. And you can get like the relics, and you can go like that side, or you can go like, just try and kill them. And it's kind of interesting. Like how trade works in that game as well is quite fun.
I need to give it another go. Let's see if I can get into it. But yeah, it's a good choice. I didn't even think about Age of Empires for when you mentioned it. I was like, good shout.
Yeah.
Alright, Jack, it was with your next one.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna follow your Supreme Commander type thought process and go for Halo Wars 2.
Oh.
Forgot about
which
that.
is very similar to Supreme Commander, at least in terms of like massive battle, massive units, full-scale wars. There's only two factions, so you've got the UNSC and the Banished, led by Atriox. Follows a pretty fun campaign. I believe it's the Spirit of Fury, which is the UNSC battleship. There's loads of different win conditions, if I remember rightly. So, like, some are like capture the hill, some are. So it kind of takes a little bit of a different style away from just the conventional kill 'em all type RTS games, and kind of infuses that with a little bit of, hey, we want you to do this type of objective, and it wants to be a little bit different. And it's based on Halo, so what's not to like in that regard? Also, the campaign's co-op, which is always good fun. I love it when RTS brings like co-op to campaigns. Really adds a whole new dynamic.
I need to play this game because I've always heard good
things.
Oh,
you should.
It's
if you enjoy lasers blasting the crap out of units and just a screen full of stuff, it's just a way to go. I think it kind of follows a little bit, and this is probably going to showcase another game that might come up on this last Dawn of War, in how you kind of obtain resources by like capturing objectives. If I remember rightly, that's how you kind of gain it, almost like acquisition, I suppose.
Yeah.
Rather than having to, farm your gold and your wood and your, minerals.
I need to check this game out then, because it does sound fun and it's co-op, like you said. So, that makes that and Red Alert 3 quite unique. I think currently they're the only two games that have like full like co-op is built into those games.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nice. That's something I definitely want to check out. I've not played. I think I might have seen a bit of the first Halo Wars, but not much of the second one. So I'll be looking into that. Do you know what? I think because another game's going to get on this list for a very specific reason. I'm actually going to go with the granddaddy of all RTS games, and that's Dune 2, which, admittedly, might not be the best playing RTS game now, but if it wasn't for Dune 2, we wouldn't have RTS games as we know it. Like, pretty much, while there are differences, back in the day, a lot of the Westwood stuff, a lot of the Blizzard stuff, all kind of stem from this game. And I have actually played like a modded version of it that completely overhauls it, but obviously that's a mod, that's not the actual game. But I'm incredibly nostalgic for this because I used to watch my brother play it, and the game did get like a semi-remake in the June 2000, which is basically like an updated version of it to play like and be easier to play. But there's something about the original game and the way that it works and the way that it plays that is, like, for me personally, is incredibly, like I said, nostalgic for it. And it's just amazing to see that this game decided to be like, hey, we're gonna make a game that's got different factions that did have some identity to it. Obviously not to the level of Emperor Battle for June, which came later, which really made each of those factions have identities, but
yeah,
a lot of what this game did is what we have now, and it's hard for me to at least not mention it, like, regardless of where it falls, if it even gets into the top 10. This game is incredibly important to RTS, so for me, June 2, yeah, might not be a sight for this on the eyes, but it's still a very, very important game for this genre. I'm probably the only one who's played it as well.
No, I played it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Ah.
I can't remember when.
Oh, okay.
But I did try it.
Oh, okay.
Like, during COVID.
Oh, really?
times.
Okay. Maybe did I send you the mod version? Because the mod version, like, zooms out the camera, like, gives
Yeah,
it
it
all the
was
quality of
modded.
life. It's really good. The guy that made the mod, like, I made a video on it a while back, and he was like, "Oh, thanks, and there's some tips for playing it and stuff," and it was like, "Oh, cool." So
Yeah, because it was like freeware the mod. Can't remember.
yeah,
Because it's like freeware and it's not
yeah.
on. Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
me, it's super important to the RTS genre. So not the first RTS game, like some people like to say it is, but the one that really defined how RTS is now.
Well, speaking about popularizing the genre, I guess I might as well just go for the most basic of basic and go for StarCraft 1. Haha, not StarCraft 2.
I was expecting StarCraft at some point.
Yeah, I was like,
So that's why I was like, June 2 needs to be on this list.
yeah. I mean, what can I say? Like, StarCraft 1, amazing, still going, competitive scene, still one of the best competitive scenes in RTS. Like, it's phenomenal. All the races, so good, so unique, so kind of 40k, but we'll ignore that.
Very much so.
Yeah, campaign's amazing. Different factions, like the difficulty of it as well is so good. Brood War, I guess it'd be StarCraft 1 Brood War, I guess.
So you're combining both, yeah?
Yeah, because I think it's got to be kind of Brood War, really.
There we go. I'll do that.
Because it just makes everything make so much more sense. Like, medics and stuff like that.
I can heal now when I stim.
Yeah. It's like, oh, stim's, like, really useful now. But yeah, I mean, it's just everything. It's got to be one of the most famous RTS games, surely, as well. Like, I mean, yeah. It's a game that's still good now. Well, Levi may have a difference of opinions.
I'm not going to deny how important this game is, right? Like, let's just be honest. Like, StarCraft, I mean, I would say it was... I know Blizzard obviously did, like, Warcraft 1 and 2 and had storytelling in it, but this game really pushed that storytelling. Where I just think, like, even watching Jack's videos recently of, like, the way that it tells the story between missions, it's just text on a screen, whereas this you actually had, like, dialogue going on in the missions.
And
like,
how they infuse so much character into them as well. Like Reyna and Karrigan, and like how when they first introduce them and stuff, like Minsk, it's like it's so good. Like,
I'm sure Jack agrees with all of these points. He's like nodding along.
Oh yes, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, all the cutscenes.
Absorbing, enjoying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely probably the game that's an RTS game that's had like the most like emotional impact as well. Like Karrigan's story and stuff like that, and all the different factions, even just like the Protoss in general, like how they work and stuff. It's pretty great.
It's a damn good story.
Phoenix and stuff like that. Yeah, there's so many good characters.
Oh, Phoenix.
Zeratul. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with like most of that. So, it's definitely a deserving game. I will say, as a whole with StarCraft, it is a shame that it's like now it feels like it's sort of being pushed back to the shelf in the sense that you know, like obviously StarCraft is kept alive by the Korean scene. There is obviously a Western scene, but like that's where it's massive. And like StarCraft 2 is probably more played in Europe now, but like it is that little bit frustrating knowing that like this RTS series is like so mega important, and yet it doesn't always get the love it deserves, and that I will say is incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, it's also one of those where it's like it's gonna be back.
Yeah, eventually.
It ain't gonna be like a forgotten genre, like a game or
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, a very good pick. Can't deny that one. All right, Jack, hit us with it.
Well, since I've already mentioned Halo Wars 2, I've got to go with Dawn of War 2. I mean, this game is incredible. A brutal Warhammer game from the 40k universe. Has more of a focus on having like a good number of units, but every unit's like super powerful, massively impactful. Chainsaws, you know, chainswords even. The animations are incredibly violent. They're very impactful, fun to watch, you know, trying to pick up an orc with the chainsword and it's very fun. It just sums up the Warhammer universe perfectly, and it's just brutality and it's violence. Has a co-op multiplayer campaign, has great cinematics, an awesome lineup of heroes and characters. Plus, it's got a great choice of playable factions. It's got Space Marines, Orcs, Eldar, and Tyranids. I mean, 4 of the best factions in Warhammer. Let's go. The only thing that's missing is probably the Necrons, in my opinion. My favorite faction. But, you know, we get 4 of the best. We'll go with that.
Just so we're clear, when you do mean Dawn of War 2, because that's the one there's no base building in that one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. Because like, I remember we played a bit co-op because it's obviously squad based, but I just wanted to make sure because when you mentioned the other factions, I think they're only playable in the multiplayer. I don't think they're playable in single player.
Yes. No, not in the campaign. No,
Right.
That's true.
Just checking, because I mean, Dawn of War 2 is a fantastic game. It's very different to the first one because the first one is based on like base building, whereas the second one is just like squad based, but it's like got RPG elements and things in it.
Yeah, I mean Dawn of War is awesome as well, but I think Dawn of War 2 just doubles down on, I say, that kind of squad element and just all the things I really like about Dawn of War kind of just doubles down and just takes away the challenges and kind of attention of the base building elements and just focuses it all on like, let's just go. You have your battles, you have your armies, easy to build, let's just go.
Yeah, it is a damn good game. The single player part of it is phenomenal. Both the expansions are really good as well. So
yeah, and the way you can upgrade your units to have like, I want these units to have bolter guns, and I want these ones to have plasma guns, and we'll have like different benefits against different things. It's really cool.
Get them in the Terminator armor. It's like, yeah, let's go.
Oh mate, yeah, the vehicles are so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, it is a really good game. Like, I remember playing it and being a bit confused. It was different to the first one, but like after playing the story is phenomenal, so good. Definitely a recommendation for me. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, for
sure. And again, you can play the whole single player through its co-op, so it's great.
Yeah,
it makes it a bit easier. You've got less squads to command. You can just sort of focus and level them up how you want. So, awesome game.
Indeed.
Okay. What do I want to choose next? I think, it needs to be mentioned. It's not the first game in the series. Technically, it's the spin-off, but I'm going to go with Red Alert 1. I think, like, most people know the game. Command & Conquer was, like, back in the day, Westwood and Blizzard had their whole, Warcraft, StarCraft, Command & Conquer, Red Alert series. Command & Conquer, the first game, is an absolutely fine game, and I think there's stuff about it I really like. But I think Red Alert was where it, going for this alternate World War thing, having, again, that slight more cheesiness to it, and essentially going for this, Soviets versus Allies. And also having probably one of the most recognizable pieces of music from an RTS game ever. So Hell March is just synonymous with this, and this is one of those games that, like, because of this game, we have you know, all the later Command and Conquer games. We have all the later Red Alert games. We have so many RTS games that are inspired. Like, there's a game coming out soon called Tempest Rising that is massively inspired by Command and Conquer 3. And, like, this is my type of RTS. You know, you focus on sort of one or two resources. But the game is, like, legendary for having, again, cheesiness. Like, the voice acting in it, purely terrible. Like, all the Soviets are done by American people doing, like, a Soviet... Like, you know, like, when they say, like, acknowledged. It's, like, it's so bad, it's good. And this game is just up there. Like, I love Red Alert 3. Red Alert 3 is probably one of my personal favorites, but we wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have that incredible cheese without Red Alert 1 existing. And, like, again, you know, the music goes hard as hell in this game, and it just does. It does the whole, like, armies and stuff smashing into each other, and because it's sort of based somewhat in reality, I think it helps. You know, later on in the expansions, you get crazy units. You know, like big old Tesla tanks. You got these mad tanks that like drill into the ground and blow up and destroy stuff. It's very, very silly, and because of that, I think it's you know, also you got teleporting tanks as well. So it's like, what's it like? It's somewhat in reality, but also a little bit in that sci-fi. So I think this game is hugely impactful for you know, 90s kids and things like that. Like, we have all these other RTS games. It's up there for me in terms of what it did for the genre. So we're gonna go with Red Alert 1. To be honest, I wouldn't be against Red Alert 1, 2, and 3 being on this list because they're all fantastic. So, but for now, Red Alert it will be.
Fair play. That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Back to you then.
Yeah, I realised I probably should have been writing down these things.
I've got a list here if you want to look. You can see.
So I was like, oh, I probably should have been writing this down while we've been talking. But yeah, I think I'll probably just, while we're like in the middle, we'll just do more of like the obvious ones.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, let's go for it. So, you may have heard of this game called StarCraft 2. It's like you were saying with Red Alert. It's like you could probably put like more than one from each series on. And it's like, yeah, like Age of Empires and that. It's like, could easily have more than one per like series. I mean, God, StarCraft 2, where do you even begin, really?
It's a phenomenal game.
Yeah, it's a great follow-up on the original Brood War. It sped things up, moved it to like the proper like 3D models, carried on the story, had the 3 different expansions. I guess we just include that all as like the game rather than trying to do like each individual expansion. Yeah, online scene's crazy. I can remember it's the first one I properly played like on computer after Age of Empires 2. Like StarCraft 2, I think. Was it Heart of the Swarm that was coming out when I started playing it? I'm trying to think what the expansion was.
I remember getting you into it, but
like 2012.
So 2012 was the first. Was Wings of Liberty. So Heart of the Swarm.
Still Wings of Liberty. So Heart of the Swarm was probably just coming out
a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did play like the base game. I mean, yeah, it's just kind of amazing, especially now with all the different mods. And like the co-op stuff. I was going to say
co-op, like a defined co-op in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Like the God, what's the name of it? Like the Evolution Complete. Is that the actual name of the mod for StarCraft 1? And like the Starbow stuff, and like all the different like so much stuff in like the custom maps and like all that kind of stuff. Mono battles.
Yeah,
like that was amazing. Yes, pretty great, pretty good.
No, what can you say?
Can't really complain.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a hell of a pick. I mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why some things are like a classic, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
It's just like everything. You could probably spend hours going through all the amazing things and differences.
It's a now at this point it is an incredibly complete game. Like, it's insane how much content's in the game. I completely forgot about this until the other day. Archon mode exists in this game. Like, you know, they added so many things It's crazy. I mean, you've even got the challenges you can do where it's like it teaches you how to like use a ghost and kill off all the enemies in a time limit, or like how to defend a rush. Like this game did so much to try and help people go from single player to multiplayer, because that's where obviously that's the thing that thrives now. And then when they added co-op in, the player base was nuts because people love that stuff.
Yeah, co-op is such a good idea. Something that like more RTSs, especially like up and coming RTSs, like really should focus on stuff like that, like the PvE kind of stuff.
100%.
All the leveling up and like all the abilities. Yeah, there's also like all the skins, like all the portraits, like the whole community side of it. Like when they did like the Home Story Cup, and you get like the items in the game. It's like that kind of modern, like doing what MOBAs started doing and bringing it to like the RTS world.
Yeah.
It's just kind of so much content. This is so much in that game now.
It is nuts. It is nuts. And it runs on a potato. Play on
yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of amazing, really.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Oh, well, unless you want to add anything, Jack, to StarCraft 2.
Oh, I've got plenty to add. I'm sure we'll come to it when we actually discuss these.
Yeah.
I've got plenty to add for StarCraft, my boy. Don't you worry.
All right.
One of the best games.
All right, fire. Do you know what? I'm not going to say what it is, but I have a feeling I know what your next pick is going to be. So I'll let you know if I'm right or wrong. But
I mean, you leave 18 picks. I left it because I thought, well, I'm sure someone's going to pick it, and 18 picks later, no one has. So, well, snooze you lose, guys. I'm going Warcraft 3.
Yeah, I knew it.
I mean, come on. How can... Yeah, I mean, it is one of the most epic stories in the history of storytelling. Blizzard absolutely nailed Arthas and the Undead Scourge. What an incredible story, followed up with the expansion. I mean, there's so much to say about this game. I mean, some of the most iconic characters ever to come from the RTS genre. I mean, you've got Arthas, Jaina, Sylvanas, Uther, Illidan, even the Muradin Bronzebeard. I mean, it's so good. There's just so many, like, I know I've done loads of people injustice here. Thrall. I mean, Thrall. There's, oh my God, Mal'Ganis, Kel'Thuzad. I mean, there's so rich in story and character. Just every character was like nailed to perfection. Like, it's so good, and it capitalizes on all the stuff from like Warcraft 1. There's so much lore in Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 2 that's carried on and improved upon and expanded upon in Warcraft 3. I didn't realize until recently playing Warcraft 2 Beyond the Dark Portal just how much setup was in that for Warcraft 3, or how much they expanded on. I don't know how they did it, but it was brilliant, purely brilliant. The playability was incredible. It really did push the RTS genre forward in what we now call modern mechanics. A lot of it was kind of brought to the forefront because of Warcraft 3. The graphics were ahead of its time. I mean, come on, the cinematics are some of the best cinematics I've ever... Even now, I look at the Warcraft 3 cinematics and like, damn, they're good. And that was back in 2002. Even without a remaster, they were incredible. And they just did a really good job improving upon the previous titles. The voice lines are incredible. I mean, literally comedy gold. Every unit has its own character. Keep clicking and they keep saying different things. Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. You're the king. Well, I didn't vote. I mean, there's so much voice lines that we use in our everyday communications with each other because we all know it. Everyone knows it. It's so relatable. And yeah, I mean, I almost getting teary-eyed talking about it. It's such a good game, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I genuinely think it is one of the best RTS games ever made, even to this day.
And let's not forget, World of Warcraft's a thing. It wouldn't have the setup it has if it wasn't for Warcraft 3 and the expansion, because so many of those characters that people know and love now come from that game. Like, I have no interest in playing World of Warcraft. I wish they'd made another RTS game. Like, I wanted a Warcraft 4 because I like this game, but I'm glad that other people found those characters down the line, and you never know. It's unlikely, but the Warcraft 3 is just phenomenal. Like what it does, and the way and how different it is to StarCraft as well. Like it goes for a slower hero-based approach.
Yeah.
StarCraft is a much quicker and no heroes. And it was cool having that two different games.
Yeah.
It's also like the camps as well.
Yeah.
Like having like the neutral creeps and stuff like that.
Goblin Sapper.
Yeah.
Getting upgrades, like the shops and
The
stuff.
fact that they introduced new factions as well.
Yeah.
And how they all play so completely differently.
Yeah.
Stark contrast from each other. It's really good.
Stop trying to balance a game with 4 factions in it, like crazy. I'll tell you what, because we're at 18, we'll all pick one more game. This probably might be.
Yeah.
I've definitely got honourable mentions, but like we'll pick one more game, and then we'll have I think 21, and then we'll try and break it down from there. So what do I want to pick here? Because there is a few different ones. I think there's only one game I think needs to be on this list, and it currently isn't, and that is Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars and its expansion Kane's Wrath. Probably still one of the best playing modern RTS games I have ever played. Like, as much as I love like Red Alert 3 and all that stuff, Command & Conquer 3 does the sci-fi thing like better than any other game. Like, it's so well put together. The factions are all like so different. The expansion adds a bunch of like variations to the factions that get different techs and things like that. You've got your upgrades, you get your crazy units in it. Like, the game is just, it still looks really good now. It just plays incredibly well. Like, it's the best NOD's ever been, it's the best GDI's ever been. Out of all the Command & Conquer games, the original and Tiberian Sun, and then the third one. Command & Conquer 4, we don't talk about that game because that was a train wreck. But the third game, oh my god. And the expansion added this really cool mode where you like have to try and take over the world, but each faction you play as, because they also added in a Skrin, which was an alien race, each one had different win conditions. So depending on who you picked, it might be like harvest X amount of Tiberium, or like have so many bases around the world, and you would like put the bases down and do that. And then the campaign missions in the expansion were like across the entire series, so you'd play some from like the original game and all that. Honestly, I like Joseph Kukin as Kane is just such an iconic, like, bald-headed bad guy. I love him. He's so good. Like, he plays that character so well. It's got that less cheesiness that the Red Alert series has, but it's just mwah. Command & Conquer 3 is so good, and it's even just playing skirmish mode. It's so fun to just be like, I'm going to play like Nod, but I'm going to play Black Hand and just burn everything, or you decide to play GDI, but you're like, I'm going to play with the bipedal walkers this time rather than the standard tanks, and then like I said, all the upgrades. It's just phenomenal. Really, really good campaigns. Hard as nails, to be honest, but just a awesome game, and it just plays incredibly well. So that's a must for me. Let's write this down. So while I'm writing that down, if no one has anything to say on it, feel free to fire off your last game, Dave.
Yeah, I was just trying to have a little look. I was just having a little like review of everything. I'm trying to think, but I think I might go for something which is a game I'm terrible at, but I think is technically an RTS. Maybe debatable.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was thinking of all the obvious, because a lot of the ones I played are like newer ones, and they're not like, I don't think they deserve to be on like the top 10. But I was gonna go Crusader Kings 3, which is
the combat
real-time strategy.
I guess the whole game's real time, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole game's real time. You got your armies, you battle, take over cities, have ally ships. So I was like, it's technically an RTS. It's like, it's a bit weird. It's also a very, very good game. Very good sim. Yeah, because I was like, oh, you got the resources, you get the trained units. I was like, I think this is. I just googled it, and it's like, some people say it's an RTS. So I was like, you know what? Let's go for something weird.
Yeah, I've got nothing to say on it, based on the fact that I've never played any of them. I know that they're the grand strategy type games, but
yeah, it's definitely more of a 4X, I guess.
Yeah. Well, why
like,
not?
Yeah, I was like, to be fair, we haven't really mentioned any kind of 4X games.
There is one.
Which is a very close, it's like a sibling to RTS, isn't it?
Yeah. Most of them are turn-based. Usually, there are RTS ones, but most of them are turn-based. So
yeah. So I was like, yeah, Crusader Kings 3. Very good game. I'm really bad at it.
Gotta love that. Alright, well, here's with the last game then, Jack.
Yeah, so there's a couple I could choose from, but I'm going to go with a game that I put a lot of time into back in the day. Warlords Battle Cry 3.
I knew this was going to come up.
So this is a game from 2004. So I remember I spent pretty much all my time and all my gaming time for a good year or so playing this game. I know me and you played a lot of it, and kind of like our own little LAN parties. And man, this game is so good. The problem is it's so long ago. So I've literally probably has been since 2005 and 6 I actually played it.
Yeah.
So my memory is very distorted of what this game was. I kind of did a little bit of looking up before this just to try and memorize what the hell was going on in this game, why it was so good. But the art style was really fun. It was very hero focused. I think there's like 16 different factions and almost double the number of heroes. So every faction had almost 2 different heroes to play from. I think there was some variation within that. But I think the main thing was it was very spell focused. So where a lot of games are either item based or they're unit based or ability based, this game was spell focused. And there was like 13 different spheres of magic, and there's like literally over 100 different spells in the game. And you can just combine different things in different ways. I say the different factions, there's like dark dwarves, humans, orcs, minotaurs. They're like all of the factions are like so like Isaurians, which are like the lizard men. There's just like a very wide variety of units. I mean, I can't remember if it was balanced very well. Probably not.
No.
With that many factions, it's very difficult to balance. But I just remember being very fun, and every game was like different. You know, you could be against 3 different factions, all 3 of them different, and you can have a very different gameplay experience from it. Which is probably why I put so much time into it back in the day. The problem is I really haven't. I genuinely cannot remember enough, and I haven't played it in long enough that I could really say and sit down and confidently say why it's so good. But yeah, for me it was a game I put a lot of time into back in the day, so I had to mention it. But probably need to play that game again.
Yeah.
If nothing else comes from this list.
I remember you could play as like dwarves or dark dwarves or something, and they were pretty good. But that's about all I remember. But it was like top down almost, wasn't it? The way it was like looked and stuff.
Yeah.
I was convinced it was this or Impossible Creatures. One of those 2 was going to come up on this list. So I was like,
Impossible Creatures. So dear.
Never heard of this game.
It's very fantasy.
No, I don't think it
looks
got much
quite
enough,
nice.
to be honest.
The art style looks kind of cool. I was just looking at like screenshots, like looking at a video of someone doing the match. So,
It looks very good for its time, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if what the video was on was like modded or something. But that looked really nice. So
Yeah,
maybe I was like up-resed or something like that.
quite possibly. All right. Well, before we get to culling this list, I'm just going to quickly, just by name, reel off some other games I had, just so they get honourable mentions. So, Crossfire Legions, really enjoyed that. Grey Goo, fairly fun RTS game. I put Tempest Rising down here. It's not out, but I have a feeling that game's gonna be over there. It might surprise Jack and Dave, but Age of Mythology, like I think that game personally, I think I would put that over the Age of Empire games, but there's no chance that was going to happen on this list. So, like that game, I think is really cool. Empire Earth, very much similar to Age of Empires, a game I personally preferred. Total Annihilation, Populous, technically a god game in an RTS.
Yeah, I was thinking Populous.
Yeah, it's
That's a good
classic.
Dark Reign 2 is a game I just really like. Homeworld is pretty unique for what it was. Ground Control and Constructor Plus or Constructor. So there's some games that I also had written down, and also Warhammer Dawn of War 1. All of those games fantastic in their own right. So David,
Ground Control. That's a game. Yeah, I think that was a Ground Control 2 as well, if I remember rightly, that I used to play.
Ground Control 2 is
Man,
good.
I forgot about that game. Yeah, that game was good.
Yeah.
A couple from my side then, since we're doing that. Black Moon Chronicles. Hell of a game. That's so fun.
Oh, nice.
The music's absolutely fantastic. Just to touch on Age of Mythology, by the way, I think Age of Mythology Retold 100% could be on that list. The problem is it's only just come out. And is it a top 10 game ever made? Hard to say at this point. It's a little bit in its younger years. I think if we fast forward 2 years, it probably would be on there. Personally, yes, I think it is definitely a game that I would say is worthy of the list. But I didn't mention it. That's probably on me, to be fair. I could probably put a couple of those, but it is what it is. Total Annihilation Kingdoms. So I know you did a lot of Total Annihilation, but I really loved the Kingdoms version. And I put a lot of time into that game. It's absolutely brutal from the difficulty element. I remember it being super hard. Don't even sure if I ever completed it when I was younger, but not from a lack of trying, I can assure you. And then one other game, Seven Kingdoms Ancient Adversaries, a very out there game, very cool art style. But yeah, I think that'll pretty much run it for me in terms of all the games that. Oh, and Corsair's Gold.
Nice.
Which was a ship game.
Nice.
It's a very fun game, but I don't think it can make a top 10. But
yeah,
it's a personal favourite for my childhood.
Dave, you got anything that you think you want to add or want to mention?
Kind of like with things that aren't really out yet, but like I really enjoyed the time we put into Stormgate. I have really high hopes for that game. I think that's going to be very good. A game I didn't really play, but I know a lot of people love is like the later Pikmin ones as well, like Pikmin 3 and stuff like that.
Pikmin 3 and 4.
Like I know people really like the later Pikmin games, but I never played them, so it felt kind of weird to put them on the list.
To be honest with you, Pikmin 4, they slightly brought the angle down, but still the same element is probably the best one it's ever been. I still haven't played it. Like I want to play it, but I only heard good things about that game. But it's that thing of, do you go with the most recent and best one, or do you go with the thing that basically started that series in the sense that like this is why, like in Pikmin's case, why RTS can be very good on console with a controller, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking about that with like the original Command and Conquer as well, like the non-Red Alert games.
Yeah,
so it's like they are also very important.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
if it's going by like my list, it's like, well, it should be stuff that I've actually put some time into. Things that I've actually like have to say, rather than like I watched like a YouTube video about Pikmin 3 and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like it should really count.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there is one other game I put on my list which is a real-time strategy game, but it's so different, which was Cannon Fodder. And I was like, I don't think I want to put Cannon Fodder in a traditional list, because it is, you pick your units, you move and fire. I was like, no, that feels like it's doing its own thing. But that's the cool thing. There's so many other games we haven't even mentioned. There's a ton. And in the 90s and the 2000s, like RTS was so big, and now we're getting that big resurgence.
Yeah, it's hard. There's so many games that like lift bits of RTS.
MOBAs. Pretty much all MOBAs are
like
RTS, just one unit.
Yeah, like MOBAs, like sim games, like 4Xs, like the town building games and stuff like that, like Frostpunk and stuff like that, and
yeah.
There's like so many games that could technically be RTS. It's quite an open genre.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
That's everything.
So, just to be the fair on this, we will go in reverse order. We'll start with Jack, and then David, and me. And we've got to whittle this down to 10 games, guys. So, Jack, starting with yourself. You can.
Oh, sorry, Levo. Can you drop the games list like in the chat?
Yeah, of course I can.
Just so I can actually just have it.
Yeah.
On the screen.
No worries.
Of course, just copy and paste it then, I guess.
This is going to probably break.
Oh no.
Hang on.
Oh no.
Apologies, 1 second, folks.
The magic of.
I can do it, Levi.
Sorry, I've done it.
Oh, there you go. Cool. Hey, there we go.
It seems fine. It's fine. If it broke, it broke. It doesn't matter. It's all good. Right, yeah. So we'll start with you then, Jack. So pick a game. Whoever, it can be your own game if you don't think it's going to make top 10. It can be someone else's. Whoever's game gets picked, it's up to that person to defend it. Or if you don't want to defend it and you want to defend something else later on, then accept its fate. But fire away. Let's get this rolling.
I'm just gonna have to pick Pikmin 1 because it's the only game from this list that I've never played in any capacity. I don't have any strong feelings for it one way or the other. So it's hard for me to say, oh yeah, the Pikmin 1 definitely should be on the list because I've never played it. I feel like it's probably a game that is for a specific audience, and I am not that audience. Even looking at sort of screenshots of the game, it looks like it's a game that I would never play, even if it was gifted to me for free.
It's
in the nicest possible way.
It's a lot harder than it looks.
Like it's not my type of game. It's not my.
It's not a game I think you would play, but it is really fun.
So, obviously that's the game I put on this. I personally think it would be top 10, even if it's low, because of what it did to allow for RTS games on console. So if you're saying get rid and I'm saying stay, this really depends on you, Dave. Do you think personally, with that list there, that it would be a top 10 game?
Go and just having a look. Yeah, it's...
Because this is what it's going to come down to. Because I do think...
It is very fun. It is very hard as well, like the later levels. Like it's really difficult.
And there's a time limit for the entire game. You've got to do the entire game in like, what, 30 days or whatever it is? It's
yeah,
crazy
like
hard.
I like the story.
Yeah.
And it is very important, yeah. I was just having a look at the list and I was like, well, it's nice to have more games on the list that I've actually played.
Yeah, no, I know. It's hard, right? It's difficult.
Yeah, but I'm like, is it... If someone said RTS, would that be the first thing that came to mind, or... Yeah, I think it should stay.
Okay.
Just because I can't think of any other RTS games like it. And, yeah.
Alright, well, in that case, so that's a 2v1 for now, so that one stays, so we'll bump it up to Dave. Because personally, I think there are games on this list that should definitely go, like, over that. But we'll get to me when we get to me. So, Dave, you now have the floor.
Ooh.
What do you want to see removed from this list?
The problem for me is a lot of the ones I'll be saying are the ones that I haven't actually played myself.
Yeah, but that's fine.
So it'd be kind of hard to say, like,
no, that's fine,
why
that's
it
fine.
should be on the list, because I'll be like, I didn't play it, therefore it's bad. It's like
no, but like, if you think about RTS games and there's stuff that you think isn't going to make the top 10, then fair enough, right? Like, because there's definitely like,
well, some of these things I saw on like top, 10, top 20 lists that I've seen before. So I feel like they probably should, just because other people seem to really like them. Alright, I'll go for the one that I've literally never heard of, and go for Warlords Battlecry 3, because I've never heard of this ever.
All right, Jack,
You know what? I'm not even going to defend it in the sense that I haven't played it for so long that I can't even give you the reasons as to why it's so good. It was just something I played a lot in my youth, and a game that I really, really loved, and a game that I probably need to play again. So yeah, I'm going to say I don't think it is a top 10 based on the strength of the strength of schedule we've got here. There are so many other games that I would probably rank above it. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't think it's a top 10, but I think it's definitely more than an honorable mention.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like the fact that we're even talking about it goes to show that you obviously had a good time with it, right? And that's the thing with some of these games that will disappear. It's going to be a case of they might not. Yeah. They might be number 11. They might be number 12, but they're still worth mentioning. So Warlords Battlecry 3 is the first one to go. Bosh.
Bye bye.
Right. Okay then. I don't want to go for something that I haven't played because I feel like there's definitely two games.
It's going to be the ones we
like,
get rid of, and there's the ones we haven't played.
It's hard to defend them,
okay.
isn't it? It's hard to justify them as top 10.
I'm going to go for a game that I have played and I very much enjoy, but I don't know if it would be top 10. So, and I think that's Dawn of War 2. I'm not sure.
Oh, wow.
Like, I love the game. I think the game's fantastic, but I think I'd probably put Dawn of War 1 over this because it's more like a traditional RTS. And that would be my argument for it. But floor is yours, Jack. Defend it.
Gonna do some research. I feel like I'm gonna be the one in the middle.
So Dawn of War 2 just is graphically so much better than Dawn of War 1. I mean, Dawn of War 1 is amazing. I completely agree that Dawn of War 1 could easily make a list like this. And for many people, it probably would. But Dawn of War 2, I think, is the pinnacle of the series. There's so many expansions, so many things they do to improve upon the game. There's so many factions and things you can do. The squad combat is incredible. Kind of goes its own way. It doesn't just piggyback off the Age of Empires Doom 2 idea from way back when. It kind of goes its own way. And I think that uniqueness is what makes this game stand out from a crowd of RTS games. You know, the way that you upgrade your heroes and your units is kind of fun, different. It adds complexity to the game. The graphics are insane, like seeing things blow up on screen. The animations are incredible. Story and characters pretty awesome. And like I say, there's about 4 or 5 different expansions in this game, which kind of elevate this game and kind of give it the test of time that some of these games, and maybe pedigree that some of these other games on this list maybe don't have. And I think when you think RTS, I think Dawn of War should be on that list of games that you think about when you think RTS. You know, it's one of those games from those the olden days. And I still think it stands the test of time even now. Some of these games on this list really don't stand the test of time. You know, they kind of age poorly, maybe in some ways. In some ways, don't get me wrong, like look at like the Dunes of the world, like the original Dune. It's very hard to say if this game plays really well now. Whereas Dawn of War 2 plays really well. The units kind of move where you tell them to move. The pathing's great. You know, the combat feels fun and fresh. Even if you haven't played the game for 20 years and come back to it like I did, I was like, yeah, you know what? This game still feels really good. So yeah, I would say Dawn of War 2, actually, I would defend that. I think it is very much a game that is deserving to be in a top 10 list. Even if you may not have as much joy yourself personally, I think it's a game that, should be synonymous with RTS.
Thing is, I agree with absolutely everything you just said. But to make this, for me, not picking like games that I don't want to pick stuff I just haven't played, right? Because I look at this list and I'm like, yeah, Dawn of War 2 can absolutely make it in there. And I look at what else is on here and I'm just like, there are a couple of games maybe I would scratch off first. But when we get to that top 10, is it going to beat some of these games? And right now, I'm not sure. So I'm sticking with it. It's got to go. So it will rest on your shoulders, Dave.
Yeah, I've been looking and reading up what people say about the game. It's definitely a game I'm like aware of.
You would probably like this game if I'm honest. I think you'd like it because it does play out the power fantasy of Space Marines very well.
I think I might have actually got it recently because it was like the big sale. So now I got some of the like Total War games and stuff. I think this might have been in like the 40k sale thing they did.
Yeah.
I think I might actually have it. But I mean, since Levi can't say why it shouldn't be there, I feel like the argument for it is a lot stronger. So yeah, I'd say it should stay.
All right.
It seems like a lot of people really like it online as well.
Okay.
I feel like we can whittle this down later anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Okay.
I think it's just like initial feelers and thoughts on what games should. Like this should definitely make it. This one probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
So-
Compared to like when we get down to like 10 of this list, it's probably going to be more of a conversation there.
As of right now, then, so Pikmin and Dawn of War 2 off, as in like they don't pick those again. So we know that right now they'll probably come back around.
I've been cutting and pasting them away.
Cool.
So,
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, we're back to Jack then. So it's your turn to pick something else. So what do you think should go?
I'm gonna go for a game that I did play back in the day, but very, very little. I know Levi's gonna defend it to the hilt, but I have to go with it for the purely fact that I don't think it's aged particularly well. Not to say that it hasn't done what it should have done. I think it's an absolute. When you talk about games that have had massive impact in the world of RTS and games that have really set the stone and kind of set the boundaries, I suppose, of what is possible in a genre, or maybe even started a genre, I think Dune 2 is one of those games. However, I don't think it plays as well now. If you were to go back and play it, I don't think you'd have as much fun, because I don't think it would stand the test of time compared to something like an Emperor Battle for Dune, which is a game that has stood the test of time far better. So I'm going to go with Dune 2 for that reason.
So
crap, so it's me and a half.
no. I do think so. Before we get to it, everything you've just said.
Executioner Dave over here.
Yeah, everything that you have said.
Approve.
I personally, right, and I know you guys are going to massively disagree. A lot of the things you say about Dune 2 is what I also applied to StarCraft, and I'm talking purely gameplay, because honestly, Dune 2, you're right, it doesn't hold up in terms of how you play. I would say most of the games on this list play better than StarCraft 1, right? And I'm just talking from a gameplay thing. StarCraft 2 is a significantly better game in terms of how it controls unit, AI, all that stuff, right? I know that StarCraft is staying. There's no way that you guys are not going to have this in the top 10. And so I fully appreciate that. But I just want to say, like, what both these games did for different reasons are hugely important, right? I know Dune 2's going, like, we're going to get rid of it. But to me, everything you say does apply to StarCraft in the sense that there are better games now than StarCraft 1. Like StarCraft 2, Warcraft, a lot of the Command and Conquer games, the newer Command and Conquer games, where the games are easier to play. They're not so rough on people, beginners and stuff. Like, yes, there are arguments to some elements of that, okay, well, actually, it does still play alright. But I knew that these are the two games on the list where I'm like, Dune 2 is there for this reason, StarCraft is there for this reason. But to me personally, like, as much as I have fun going back to these games, they are there's a lot of things that are a bit janky, let's say. But as far as I'm concerned, like, I wanted to bring up Dune 2, I wanted to talk about Dune 2. Do I think it's top 10? No, not without mods or anything like that. So Dune 2, I love you, but you gotta go. So he's off the list.
But damn, you have to say anything.
Yeah, well, you haven't played. Oh no, you have played it, I guess. But I feel like,
yeah,
I wanted to bring up that comparison to StarCraft for me on a personal level. Like, we're not even talking to esports, right? We're just talking about older games that had a huge impact, but I may not necessarily think play as well.
The only thing I was going to say is that a lot of what I was thinking about this is more like the actual, like, what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, are we doing a top 10, like, most important RTS games to come out, or we're doing our
personal stuff.
We're doing our favorite, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it can be an argument to support it, but this is meant to be our list of what we like, and I'm not a big fan of Dune 2.
No,
I never want to play it. So
that's it. Like, it's not the impact that game has. It's arguable that it is number one on the most important RTS games of the time.
But not
StarCraft number 2. I would put it in those terms of what that game did. Right, those two games.
Well, it coined the term real-time strategy.
I just think it's worth acknowledging and mentioning these things, because, as I say, Dune 2 is a very impactful part of the RTS world. But like you say, it's from a personal perspective. Like, there are pretty much almost any other game on this list, personally. Same.
Yeah. No, that's fine. No, I knew it was going to go. I was coming up very soon, so I was like, it's good. I don't want to argue that point. There are other games on here I'd rather go blue in the face to. So,
that's right.
All right, Dave, fire away.
What do I want to choose?
I'm hoping you pick the games I don't have to.
I feel like a lot of mine are going.
I just don't know them as much
Except
as
for
you.
one. I know one's staying, and there is no way that's going.
Warcraft 3, get that shit out of
here.
I'm gonna let you.
What?
I'm gonna let you guys argue for Supreme Commander. Because I think it. Yeah, I haven't played it, so I'm just basically choosing the ones I haven't played. So I'll let you guys decide. So, I've never heard of it.
So I don't. Did you play much Supreme Commander, Jack?
Not a huge amount, I'm afraid to say. Although I used to love Total Annihilation, I really like what they're going for here. And perhaps my opinion would change if I had played and put a significant amount of time in it. In fact, I'm not even sure I did play it. I might have played Supreme Commander 2, ironically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one
the weaker
all
of
my
the two,
friends used to have. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard for me to say that Supreme Commander is better than some of these games on here, knowing how good some of the other ones are. And that's not any kind of jab against Supreme Commander, because I can see there's a lot of love for this game. Do I personally think it's a top 10 RTS game? I would probably struggle to say yes, because I haven't personally invested into that game. And that's not to say I won't following this discussion. I may very well give it a whirl at some point. But at the moment, looking at the other things that are on here, I could easily see 10 games that I would rank above it. So for that reason and that reason only, I would have to say probably not.
See,
but defend it.
Yeah,
and see if you can change my mind.
The thing is, Supreme Commander is everything you love about Total Annihilation. It was based on that by being the spiritual sort of sequel to it. So the idea was with those types of games was huge, like getting huge armies of like units and like smashing. And when I mean huge armies, we're not talking like StarCraft where you got like 50 versus 50. We're talking like hundreds of units, like of like craft and little mech dudes and tanks with different types. You have like rockets and missiles and artillery, and like when you ran stuff like when you like moved your army or like controlled or whatever, you could like watch these huge battles like with forests and like open plains or across water with like massive boats and things like that. And it was the scale of the games that always made it so good. Like Total Annihilation started it, but Supreme Commander almost like perfected it because it was like bigger and better, and like the UI is like really well designed. Like when you zoom out, you can see all your units like as dots, so you could like click on like a group of dots quite easily. It was very easy to control, and it was like that power fantasy of massive mechs stomping around, and then you get like one of the teams would get a huge like UFO mega unit or like a 20-legged artillery tank thing, and you could shoot across the maps, like, you know, the maps were massive and you could like blast them up. It just took the idea of war and put it on such a huge scale, but also really fun units. Like they'd have like dumb names, like in Total Annihilation you have like a unit called the Pee-wee or something like that, and it was similar to like this. The units had stupid like kind of names, and the little bots were great. And like the fact that you had like so many units, you had like the bots, the tanks, the aircraft, and the ships, and like even the ship combat was awesome. You'd start with like your little destroyers, and then you get like these fucking huge things with like 7 cannons, like a blah blah, like firing into it. And it's just, I just don't think there's any other RTS on this list that comes to the scale of what Supreme Commander is. Like, there are games here where I'm like, I would scratch them off before this, but you know, if you guys don't think that it's worthy, then you know. But I do think that this is the sort of game that would be in contention for that, because again, none of the other RTS's games here are based on this large-scale war that you're having, and every map was like that. Like, you know, you go into a sort of base and there'd be like shields up, and you'd be launching missiles, and you're watching shit hit the shields before they turn off, and it was just so like well done. And resources were a little bit different as well, where like as long as you had enough power, you could build as much as you like. So rather than like spending that resource, it was like, are you generating more power than you're using? And the same with metal. Are you generating enough metal more than you're using? So as you got more and more resources, you could build more and more and more. And it just got to this insane level of like, hey, like this fight's going to be epic. And you could just zoom out and watch it happen in real time. And it was like just really cool. I don't know if that's convinced anyone, but that's my pitch.
I'm like, wow. It's not going to be on my favourite list because I never played it. So it's up to you two, really.
I mean, if you're saying, Jack, that you would put other games above it, then I assume it's got to go. So
I would, but
ooh,
I'm just looking. I've done a count. I'm trying to see. It could. If Pikmin 1 wasn't there, I would say yes, it probably could make the top 10.
Oh, damn.
But if Pikmin 1's in there, the problem is it's like that knocks everything else down one. So I'm like, I don't know. I personally think it's better than Pikmin 1. And if Pikmin 1 wasn't there, I'd say it probably could make it in my personal list. So hard to say. I'm very on the fence. I like the argument. I think it is very cool. Looking at screenshots as well, like they do look awesome. Graphics look relatively okay for its time, but there's some other games on this list that are pretty good. I'd almost be one of those I'd want to come back to.
There's definitely
see what the list looks like towards the end.
There's definitely 5 games that I personally would get rid of over this, but.
Oh yeah, but there's 10 that you got. There's 11 you got to drop off
I know.
to be in the top 10. So do you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if it's better than 11 of these games that are on here.
Yeah.
But it might be better. It's better than a couple for sure, in my opinion.
I think.
I don't know. It's difficult.
I think personally, I would probably defend Pikmin harder, and for that reason, I think it will get rid of Supreme Commander. Because as much as I love Supreme Commander,
plot twist.
Yeah, well the thing is,
wow, that is a plot twist.
The thing for me is like I think Supreme Commander is top 10, right? But so I also think Pikmin's top 10. And if it's going to come down to the wire, which game am I going to defend harder? Probably.
I know which one I'd choose out of Pikmin and Supreme Commander.
I love Supreme Commander.
No, then.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
We've got.
I really am the executioner, aren't they?
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Killing things.
So I'm trying to get. Is it vengeance time? I think. Out of all the games on this list, the one that is the weakest showing, really, is Crusader Kings 3. Like, defend it, but it's the least RTS on here. It's so much more grand strategy.
Yeah, it is more of a grand strategy. I do like how I haven't played like a 4X kind of civvy thing. I haven't played one with like real-time combat, which is really interesting. I think it has like the units that are better than other ones.
Yeah.
You do your carcass battle, so like, when you start the war, you like levy your men at arms, and you gotta like transport them. So if you're Wessex and you're in England and you start a war in France, you have to like send all your army over, and then it like weakens your production and stuff. Like like the Civ war weariness stuff happens. But then you can split your army into like either one big chunk and go and attack the other ones, or you can split it into smaller chunks and go and attack. You can also like have allies, so you can have like 6 or 7 different nations like all fighting in the same area, trying to support each other. It does the thing like in Civ where you can give support to someone to make their unit stronger. And you got to take cities, and you got like things where like cavalry's weak to pikemen. And you got like archers or like crossbowmen as you like level them up, and you got men at arms. Yeah, so you got like the kind of like the triangle of what's good against what. But yeah, it's probably more of a grand strategy. There's something I wanted to say is like I've never really seen this in the game like this.
Yes.
Maybe it's just because I haven't played a lot of games like this. But yeah, it's a really weird game. Really good. But yeah, I wouldn't defend it more than like some of the other ones on this list.
Yeah, that's fair. Jack, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's probably more of a 4X.
So I've never played Crusader Kings personally, so again, difficult for me to justify defending it on a top 10 list. However, I would put it in the same realm as I would Total War, in which case it kind of is real-time strategy, but it's more of a grand strategy.
It'd be like,
and I didn't put Total War on that list for that reason, really. So I think, on me personally, I think I'd have to say I don't think it really fits the RTS banner in the same way as does as grand strategy. But I really do appreciate, obviously, this game is massively loved, and obviously it looks amazing. And I'm sure at some point when I've got 200 hours to spare, I will
hard as
invest in a grand strategy.
It's a hard game. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a
it looks like a cool
strategy.
game, but I don't think I would put it as a top 10 RTS, if I'm being perfectly honest. So for me, it's a no.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it does need to go, but
all right.
But yeah, it literally is. Yeah, I guess like Civ is probably the best way to describe it, with no turn base.
Yeah.
So like you just set the game speed, then like everything runs at the same time. And there's no way
in
to
real
do
time,
like
fair enough.
Also, it's got a co-op mode, which is something I really want to try. It'd be
well weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 'cause if I did it though, the only person out of us that plays it would be Tsubami, and that sounds awful to try and play this game against him.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of DLC
Yeah.
and expansion stuff. This game is massive. If you got like all,
I'm sure he's already min-maxed it by now.
yeah. I think if you got all the DLC for this game, it's like crazy. It's like 300 quid or something like that. You get like all the stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of DLC. For it.
That reminds me of Stellaris. Although is this from
Paradox, isn't it?
Paradox as well?
Yeah.
They do love their
believe
like
so.
20 expansions, don't they?
Yeah. City Skylines is the
That
same.
seems to be their thing.
Yeah, Paradox Development Studio, Paradox Interactive.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Jack, you're up next. What are we arguing for?
The only other game, actually no, there's two games on here I haven't played, but one that I think stands out a bit like a sore thumb, I'm afraid, is Brutal Legends.
Saw this coming. I really love this game. But similar to the Crusader Kings 3, I really love this game, but it is half brawler, half RTS. And yeah, the RTS isn't the main focus, but like, my god, the story is just amazing. And like, yeah, the characters, like how they tie metal music and like fantasy world together is just so good. But yeah, the story's amazing. I've never seen RTS mechanics used in this way before. Well, it's kind of like the RTS is basically like capitalism, where it's like you get your fans like buy your products, you get money, you can buy new things, you can like upgrade your units and stuff. Like, it's really fun. Yeah, like the world building of it was really good. But then compared to all these like way more traditional ones that we still have in the list, it's like, yeah, it's brawler slash RTS more than an actual RTS.
I haven't played it. I've seen it, but I've only seen the beginning
so
part of the
good.
game. I don't think I've seen the RTS side of it.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. It's only like halfway through or so it goes into like RTS mode. So yeah, I think it's probably should go.
Yep. All right.
But yeah, very fun game. Just watch the
I
cutscenes.
need to play this.
If you like metal music, just watch the cutscenes on YouTube because God knows how they're ever gonna get a re-release.
Yeah.
Let's say now they did the Tony Hawk's games.
Yeah.
Maybe
exactly.
they'll be able to do a re-release. They'll be able to do new dialogue because some of the singers now aren't even here anymore. So like,
AI, mate. AI generation.
yeah, that's true. Oof.
That's a whole nother kettle of fish.
Yeah.
All right. Brutal Legend is gone. Dave, you're up. Pick a game.
Oh. Which is a bad time to drink.
Whoa!
I mean, once again, I'm kind of just going for the ones that I haven't played.
That's fine.
And in the same vein where it's like, I don't know if I'd call it an RTS. I was going to choose Dungeon Keeper.
As soon as you said that,
Because from what I know about it, it's more of like a city builder. Or like, it's like you build the rooms, don't you? And you like expand like your keep, basically, don't you? Like your stronghold. It seems more like a city builder to me. Or like, yeah.
It's a right old mishmash of gameplay, because the way that it basically works is you have your main like worker unit is imps. So when you highlight dirt, they'll like mine out the dirt, and then they'll like possess the floor so that you can build on it. And then as you build different buildings, you attract different monsters. You don't actually like control the creatures directly. There's two ways of doing it. You either possess them and become it. It becomes a first person game. Or you put down like call to arms, or you can call to arms, or you can pick them up and drop them, and they automatically fight, basically. So it is real time. The strategy side of it's kind of loose because it's more about designing your dungeon.
More like a theme hospital or something.
It's
like
same
that,
people. It's
or
Bullfrog
like...
Productions. It's that sort of thing where like your creatures will go about doing tasks, and when you need them, you can pick them up and drop them, or you can possess them and join the fight that way. It's tough because I think the game and the 2 games in the series, and the games it spawned afterwards, like Dungeons and also War for the Overworld and things like that. Like those games are like modernizations of this type of game. I still think that this game is hugely important, but it is hard to defend it. But like for me, like there's 2 other games on this list that I look at, and I know we still got to whittle down, where I look at like Rise of Nations and Halo Wars 2, and I'm like, I would put Dungeon Keeper over those, but that still doesn't mean that Dungeon Keeper would be in top 10. So all I would be doing is sort of delaying it. So I guess because those two are Jack's probably more interested in seeing those go in there. So I guess it comes down to you, Jack. Do you think Dungeon Keeper should go?
It's a tricky one. I actually quite like Dungeon Keeper. It's an oddball pick for sure in terms of it's an element of strategy, but maybe not real-time strategy in the traditional sense. Still doesn't necessarily mean it's not an RTS, because you are making decisions and you're doing the strategy elements in real time. So it's not like a turn-based strategy or a different type of strategy genre, like a tactic genre or like an overworld genre. There is an element of RTS. So I don't have an issue with it being in an RTS list. And I actually quite like the game a lot. Maybe more so than some games on this list. Unfortunately for you, Levi, I'd say some of yours that replaced as opposed to some of mine.
Yeah. Of course.
I don't know. It's a tricky one because I do like it. I've had put a lot of time into Dungeon Keeper in the past, of years old. It's a very funny game. And I would definitely rate it over some of the other videos or games on this list. I'd actually be inclined to keep it, actually.
Okay, well we can come back to that one if there's no struggle, because obviously I
Potentially.
Removing it.
I am a little bit on the fence on that one, if I'm being honest.
Well, we can come back to it.
It sounds like it's staying.
Yeah, so Dungeon Keeper, Pikmin, and Dawn of War 2.
I move it with the staying ones, just in case. Choose it again.
Okay. So it's a coin toss for me right now of Rise of Nations or Halo Wars 2. I have not played either of these games.
It's kind of a problem with this format with the 3 of us.
Yeah, but like...
Yeah, we've all played different games. There's
like
only a couple that's common.
I am going to say defend Halo Wars, because I know that these games are good, but looking at what else is on this list, like, is it top 10 worthy? Like...
So I think what Halo Wars does really, really well is combine a very loved franchise with the RTS genre, and does it in a way we've only got 2 factions, but it's kind of like a mix of that Dawn of War, kind of a little bit more focus on the actual battles and the battlefields and the operational elements and the tactical side of RTS, whilst kind of leaving some of the base management elements away so that you can focus on that. So I think it does play a little bit more like Dawn of War in the sense that you kind of have requisition points, I believe it's called, where you kind of, as you do objectives on the map, you're gaining resources. Those resources can then be put into building those said units. So you can focus on the battles, you can focus on the tactical elements, rather than having to worry about the macro elements of base building, such as like a StarCraft or a StarCraft 2 or a Warcraft. So I think it's different enough that it stands out from a crowd of, because you look at like the Command & Conquer 3, Command & Conquer Red Alert 1, they're very similar games. They're basically the same game, but with different skins. So can you say that all 3 of these, like you got Red Alert twice, and you've got Siberian Wars, like Command & Conquer 100% needs to be in the list. But do I think 3 games from Command & Conquer should be over this list over Halo Wars, which is different and unique and takes its own direction in a crowded market in that regard? I personally think I would rate Halo Wars 2 over Siberian Wars and Red Alert 1.
the same argument then could be said that should StarCraft, StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 be on that list? If Halo Wars 2 is that unique, and you've picked out the one series that has Red Alert, Command & Conquer, Red Alert 3 in it, I would argue StarCraft, StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3.
I would definitely argue StarCraft, StarCraft 2, and I would also argue potentially Age of Empires and Age of Empires 2. 4 and 2, sorry. I think one of those definitely need to stay. But I personally think Halo Wars 2 is unique enough and plays really well. The cinematics, by the way, are incredible. Like, they're very although it's animated, it's very realistic. You've got a really good story. I'm pretty sure every mission you get like a cutscene, or at least there's an ongoing cutscene that's kind of played throughout, very similar to Warcraft 3. You get like your acts as well, so you get like a big cinematic at the end of an act. But like I say, I think it plays really well. The gameplay is fantastic, and I say graphically, it's way ahead of Tiberium Wars and Red Alert 1. I think graphically, it's very, very holds up very well even now. And to be fair, it is a more recent game in that regard as well. So there is an element of that.
All right.
Modern mechanics, it's got all the modern mechanics you know and love. There's no jankiness to the gameplay, not to my knowledge and not from my memory. And obviously, a lot of the battles, it's a lot more. Let's say big units are very big in this game, so scale is very good, and it's very similar to like Supreme Commander in that regard, where it's like big, large-scale battles.
I guess.
Yeah, I would like to defend it.
All right. I
Over
guess
some of the other games.
Dave, then this is gonna have to come down to you again, because I haven't played it. Like, I've got nothing against the game personally. I've heard good things, but I just haven't played this one.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a good argument. It is true. There's like most of this list is made by like 3 companies.
Well,
so like, yeah, I can kind of see that.
like, if it's that unique, then I'd be willing for it to stay. But then for me, we're getting to that point where I think it's obvious what like maybe the top 5 are, maybe, and then we need to start like cutting some of these games.
It's hard to know until you sort of get to the sort of your top 10s actual. Like, I'd almost say some of these are like borderline, like on the cusp of being a 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like it'd be almost easier starting from the top and working down to a degree, because you kind of get into the realm of what does sit at 10. If you don't know what your first 6 are, it's hard to say what your bottom 4 are going to look like.
I'd say
because some of the I could be argued with some of these. Like, there's a good mix of games in here that are all kind of those fringe borderline games that I think are either gonna make it or they're not. Whereas there's some very obvious ones that I think we could probably put quite easily at the top sort of 5 elements.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I appreciate you don't necessarily have to say. Maybe it's worth doing a couple of like your top 5 that you know is definitely gonna make it, right? Like, which ones are gonna be, and then you can whittle the list down a little bit more. I
think we can definitely cull some more here though before we get to that point.
I'm more than happy to keep it for now. Halo Wars.
All right. Okay.
We can see what happens when we get near a 10.
All right, Dave, pick a game.
Game. Probably one I haven't played yet. I mean, of the ones that are left, there's like 3 that I haven't played. No, 4 I haven't played actually, but 3 where I think they're more likely to go than the other one. So I shall go for Emperor Battle for June. This is a game I've had no real interest in playing. Because I know you guys have.
I think
it hasn't.
I think unless Jack's gonna stab me in the back here, I can't see this not being in the top 10. That's what I'm gonna say on it.
Yeah, it's very hard to argue that case. To say that it's to be gone. It's such an impactful game. It's a game that I've played a lot of hours into, and I genuinely love. I think this is one of the almost dead certs to be in a top 10.
I'll
if I'm being
tell you what,
perfectly honest.
To speed things up a little bit, I'm happy to axe the original Red Alert instead.
Well, I didn't choose that though.
No, I know, but like we've gotten to a bit of a stalemate where we're going through game to game and like that's not leaving. So instead of that, I'm willing to sacrifice one of my
Yeah,
own
but we
games.
have to talk about each one anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, no, I know. I just thought like if because it's difficult because we all I know that there's certain preferences. I don't mind. Like there are other games on this list that I would rather, like I said, go like Emperor Battle for June for me is like easy top 5, right? Like personally. So like,
Yeah.
would I argue that with something like Red Alert? Maybe not.
I mean, if you want to take a game off, we're not
Well, I
going
was
to
just
stop
thinking
you.
That probably would have been one of the ones I was going to pick out anyway, to be fair.
I'm fine with it. Like,
Because we're talking about it now rather than talking about it later, aren't we? So
Yeah.
I don't know if we're really saving much time, but yeah, we can
But
just
what
axe
I'm
that.
saying is like there's a reason why this game is beloved and all that sort of stuff. The original Red Alert, but I do think there are other Command and Conquer games on this list.
I'd
that are
rather
just
keep Red
better.
Alert 3 on the list, to be honest.
I would definitely pick Red Alert 3 over
Yeah.
1. So.
All right, that's fine. Like easy. I don't mind.
Cool.
Great game.
Okay, that
yeah,
one's
makes
gone.
sense.
I mean, either I can count that as my pick or I can pick something else. It depends on how you want to do
Oh, you
that.
picked your own, yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Moving on. Checking.
I don't mind. I mean, I can pick something, but I feel like
Just pick something. We're
All
going to
right.
have to talk about each one anyway, aren't
yeah.
we? So
Stronghold. No, I'm only joking. Let's go with. I'm not convinced that Age of Empires 2 and or Age of Empires 4 are both making the top 10 list. So I'm going to say I feel like you two would probably go with Age of Empires 4, but I think one of them has to go. So I guess if 2 is like that legendary, then I'm going to say Age of Empires 4.
I
choice between the two.
It's thing with Age of Empires 4 is categorically, in my opinion, better than Age of Empires 2 in many ways.
Oh yeah.
Plays better, the cinematics are incredible, like it's more historically accurate, it's doubled down on something Age of Empires 2 was going for. However, I cannot see any top 10 list in which Age of Empires 2 is not in it. Age of Empires 2 was so significant and still is. More people probably play Age of Empires 2 than 4 right now.
Yeah.
A game that came out early 2000s.
Also, Age of Empires 2
And-
competitive scene still going on. Like, there's still a surprisingly
Yeah.
big amount of people playing it still.
But I love Age of Empires 4, so it's a bit of it's a difficult
Yeah.
one.
The thing for me is,
Um,
it's like Strong Ode never played. Rise of Nations never played. So for me, it's like, well, that's two games I definitely would want on the list.
I mean, I didn't want to pick Rise of Nations or Battle Realms, right? One of those games I've played. I don't know enough about Rise of Nations. So rather than just go for like some of those picks that Jack's done, that's why I've Age of Empires 4'd it, because I'm like, are they both good enough to be on that top 10 list? Possibly. I figured that Dave, you might pick some of that stuff, like Rise of Nations, Battle Realms, things like that you might be like, go, I've not played it, rather than...
Yeah, it's
I
kind of
didn't
hard
want
to
to just
have
keep
it
going.
on.
I've played Age of Empires 4. I played Age of Empires 2. I much prefer playing Age of Empires 4 because it's more newer. But Age of Empires 2 is Age of Empires 2, right? Like,
Yeah.
Funny thing is, the top 10 list that left over are actually pretty good. It's a pretty good list for me, So personally, yeah, I would say keep it in. But in the same token, it's a difficult thing with a newer game, right? It doesn't have that same pedigree as an older title. Doesn't have that same impact. Wasn't quite as.
The thing for me is, like, we
it's-
could keep both of them for now. And then see,
We could.
see
but then
what
I
happens
feel
with
like
the top 10.
I feel like if we keep both of them, then like Rise of Nations.
I'd rather keep them two. Get rid of Command and Conquer 3. We can get rid of Battle Realms. We can get rid of Rise of Nations. And there we go. Got plenty of space for both of them. It's all the ones I don't play.
I would say that, to be fair, I would agree with that in the sense that I would personally rate Age of Empires 4 above those 3 games.
I'd have to defend Command and Conquer 3. That's crazy talk.
I'd say we keep...
Rise of Nations is...
I think for now, we should probably keep both Age of Empires We can always whittle
Yeah,
it-
Age
we
of
can
Empires
whittle
2
them
has to
down.
be in the list, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Age of Empires 4 is on the cusp of being in the top 10
I
or
defend.
not. It's a borderline one, potentially.
Yeah, I defend 2 stronger than 4.
Would I just, like, for example, would I defend StarCraft Brood War over Age of Empires 4? I don't know. It's for 2 very different reasons, I'd argue one way or the
Yeah.
other. Whereas Battle Realms, like, I don't think that's making top 10. I mean, we can pretty much just put that one on the probably not going to make it.
Should we cut Battle Realms?
As
then?
much as I love that game, I don't think it's going to make it. And I also am not sure Rise of Nations would either. But I definitely think it's one of those borderlines that is unique enough to be different from the Age of Empires. But I'd probably say Age of Empires 4 over Rise of Nations.
Okay, so
I'd say call those two.
so Rise of Nations and Battle
Okay.
Realms, you're saying take them off the list.
I don't think they're top 10s
Okay.
on this list.
Yeah.
Battle Realms,
But
do
I'd
like,
also
but-
say Command and Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars would be the other one.
Okay, so let's get rid of Rise of Nations and Battle Realms because they were your
And
picks.
then you argue for your
Yeah.
Command and Conquer 3
Alright,
Tiberium.
hang on. How many
Because I know you're...
how many
I
games
think
are
that's
left?
going.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
So that'd be a
6,
good argument to win over both
8,
of us.
9, 10.
I could be tempted, but I mean, when you look at the pedigree of what's there...
There's 3 games that have to go. Okay. Alright. Command and Conquer 3. It's one of those RTS games that does the sci-fi futuristic style of RTS games with the power fantasy, like big stompy tanks, very powerful units, 2 very different factions, a really good story that's like culminated over multiple games. And I think the game still plays incredibly well. I think it's one of the easiest. This game actually was on consoles. They made a good console port of it. It's how my brother mainly played it. And I think it was a really solid version of a Command and Conquer game. I think that it's incredibly fun. The expansion added a ton to the game. I think like this in Red Alert 3 came out in the same year, or the expansion to Command and Conquer 3 came out in the same year, which is crazy. But like those 2 RTS games, I just think are some of the most playable RTS games to date. They are on, I will say, the Command and Conquer games are usually on a slightly simpler side in terms of you just build your harvesters, they kind of just do their own thing. A lot more of those games is focused on the building the units and the combat and like micromanaging the units, less so on the resource management. So, you know, that's going to appeal to some people, appeals to me, because it's like, oh, I don't, that's not the part that I enjoy doing. It's getting the fun units and blowing stuff up and fighting and all that. It's hard, like, for me personally, it's hard to put Dawn War 2, Halo Wars 2 over this. Like, even StarCraft 1 I don't think is as good as Command and Conquer 3, but I feel like for me it's probably like a
Well, I
losing.
think this is the problem with me, is I don't like Command and Conquer's way of playing. I don't like having the building tab. Like I don't like the way Command and Conquer games play. I much prefer the buildings and like building things out of buildings, like hotkeying them and stuff. Like I don't like having. It's one of the problems I have with like not Stronghold. Oh god, the new one.
Tempest Rising.
Tempest Rising. One of the problems I have with that, where it's like, it's a good game, but it's doing the Command and Conquer style, and I don't like that style. So it's going to be very hard for me to say Command and Conquer 3 should be on this list. When we got Red Alert 3, and like, I can look past the interface because of all the other things I love about Red Alert 3. But yeah, it's going to be very hard to make me say keep it.
I think I'm the opposite, whereas I like having that tab because it means you don't have to go back to the buildings and click on them. If you've got a barracks, you click the inventory tab, you click what you want, starts building it. It's always that thing, like, as much as I love StarCraft 2, because StarCraft 2 and Red Alert 3, I believed, were announced the same year. So for me, it was like, 2 modernizations of like games that I really like. As much as I love StarCraft 2, I think Red Alert 3 and Command and Conquer 3 are easier for people to get into because you don't have to individually like click and do.
Yeah,
hotkey
this
and
is
stuff.
our list of our
yeah, for sure.
favourites.
But my argument
And,
is that like
I never want to play Command and Conquer 3.
yeah.
so it's
Like, but I just think like it's right now. I would put Command and Conquer 3 above Dawn War 2, Halo Wars 2, and StarCraft. Those are the 3 that I would remove from the list to keep Command and Conquer 3.
Well, it was like Dungeon Keeper. A game that's like not even really an RTS.
To be fair, I could be. I think that's one game that I would be willing to remove. I think that's fair.
I don't know Jack. How do you feel about Command & Conquer 3? Because I'm definitely like, nah.
I don't know if I've actually played it, but I get the appeal of Command & Conquer because I've played enough time in the first one. I think Command & Conquer is a great game. I actually quite like the building tab on the side. I think other games have now done it in a better way. But I quite liked it. I'm not against it. I think it's quite slow with the harvesters. Like, it's a lot slower paced, in my opinion, of what I've played of the Command & Conquer series compared to, well, definitely a StarCraft, but even some of the other games on this list, it feels quite slow. So you kind of, a lot of waiting around for my credits to go in the bank. Thank you very much. And I personally prefer the faster RTS games.
Yeah.
See, this is where your Pikmin has screwed you, Levi, because your Pikmin, I'd have said Command & Conquer probably is better than that personally, but because Pikmin's there and I have to defend Halo Wars 2 because I think Halo Wars 2 is a better game than Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars. Unfortunately, I think Dungeon Keeper's got to go, and I think so is Tiberium Wars.
I'm just gonna defend one thing. The Command & Conquer. I know you're speaking from experience from playing earlier Command & Conquer games. Command & Conquer 3 is not that slow when it comes to harvesting resources. That part of the game is significantly faster than the older games. It's like you still have the harvester, but it's like 50, 60, 70% quicker than it was. So you can get a couple, similar to like how Tempest Rising does with the GDF. It's much faster in terms of going back and forth from it. So. Yeah. I see your point. I knew what you're getting at, but it's not like the original game is very slow. Like they go out, they meander around, all that stuff, come back. I guess it comes down to this: do I think, or am I more willing to defend CNC 3 over Dungeon Keeper and Pikmin? Pikmin probably not, because I think that game is very important. Like, for what it did for console RTS games. I think it's hard for me not to put that on a list. Okay. Dungeon Keeper, I could maybe see scrapping. But if I'm getting rid of Command & Conquer 3, I still think Dungeon Keeper over StarCraft at Halo Wars 2. Like...
Over StarCraft Brood War?
Yeah. Like...
How?
Because the same reason... the same reason... Game. June 2 was removed from the list. The same can be applied to StarCraft. It doesn't play as well as people want to make it out to be. I know it's not a bad game, but it doesn't have... You've got StarCraft 2. You've got Warcraft 3. You've got all these other games. Bear in mind, I'm not taking into consideration the esports side, right? Like, that's not the reason why I would have it on a list. In all intents and purposes, I don't give a shit about the esports side of any of these games. For me, it's like, how well does this game still play? Is it still fun? Yeah, StarCraft's fun, but StarCraft 2 exists. Warcraft 3 exists. Some of these other games just play better. Like, I'd argue the original Red Alert still plays better, but we know how that goes. So, would I have Dungeon Keeper? Dungeon Keeper is much more unique, and I think it still had a massive influence.
I still can't see how Dungeon Keeper is. So their real-time strategy is kind of anything else, but like looking at his list, I feel like it's still more of like a base builder, castle simi, like theme hospitally kind of like. It feels more like that kind of game. So I know people attack your dungeon, but like a lot of it's still just like building, making rooms, putting stuff in the rooms. Like,
okay, so there's 3 games.
To be fair, yeah, I was going to say there's 3 games. If you look at the numbers, actually, it doesn't really matter that I like Halo Wars 2 more than both of them, really, because 3 of them got to go anyway.
Yeah.
And I would not put Emperor Battlefield or Dawn of War 2 below Halo Wars 2 or Dungeon Keeper. So
I feel like I've lost the argument for Command & Conquer 3, so I feel like that's going regardless.
Compared to what's on the list and
I'm afraid so. Compared to what's left.
It's kind of like Jack as well, where it's like...
StarCraft is the only one I could even think about because of the pathing's bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's also what also makes that game...
So let's get rid of Command & Conquer 3.
On it.
I think this game is better than about 50% of the list on there, but I'm not winning that argument, so that's fine. Okay, Command & Conquer 3's gone.
2 more to go?
Yeah, 2 more to go. I think we're at a point now where we need to like look at this list.
Well, the 2 more would be Dungeon Keeper and Halo Wars 2.
Is that what you think?
So the 2 that we were on the fence.
Right,
I think so,
okay.
yeah.
I feel like Dungeon Keeper's
Like,
probably...
do I think, yeah, from my personal thing would be, can I win an argument of Halo Wars 2 being better than StarCraft? No chance.
I mean,
Really, I don't even think I could defend myself.
I'm all for
I don't think I
removing
could defend
StarCraft.
myself against that.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, StarCraft compared to the rest of these games is, you know, right, whatever about Dungeon Keeper, that's probably going. But, like, StarCraft over any of these games, like, to me, if it is making top 10, StarCraft
like,
is 10.
The campaign is so fun to play.
Yeah,
it is
like
good.
all
But
the characters, the videos. Like,
yeah, and I like StarCraft 1. I don't even dislike the game.
Campaign.
But
so if you said take out the esports side, it's like I have a lot of fun. But just play. I don't need to do like.
I come back to it every
multiplayer
decade
and
without
stuff.
fail.
Yeah, like I don't need multiplayer to enjoy Brood War. Like just doing the campaigns and just doing all like the challenges and stuff is so good. They try
Honestly,
and do like
learning to
100%
speedrun
it.
Brood War was one of the most satisfying things I've done in a long time.
But
Like just because it's so much, because it's like it's not just the game that's against you. It's the challenge of pathing. It's all the other challenges that come with it. So you're overcoming those challenges to be good at the game.
Like,
And
the
that
missions
is like
are so
to me,
fun.
I find that appealing in some ways. The same as like same way of Warcraft 1, like my peons keep walking into each other, so I have to build my buildings around where the gold mine is so they don't walk into each other and just end up in a conga line not giving me any resources. It's like in the same way, like I find that weirdly fun because it's like that is the game giving you an additional challenge. The fact that you can't hotkey buildings in like a modern RTS and like be like, oh, look at this, I can just press 2 buttons and I build everything I want. Whereas this game, it forces you to play differently. It forces you to change your knowledge of what RTS is.
In the campaign as well, like all the different maps and the really interesting missions with like the survival ones, like taking down the different Zerg bases, like the one where you have to like mine, it's like 100,000, I can't remember what it is now. You have to like mine the resources to like complete it, and also like the small squad missions when you go like inside the bases. You're controlling like 10 units and stuff. Like it's really fun, StarCraft. Like I have much more fun in that campaign than. I mean, the thing for me is like the games I would get rid of this list is like there's 2 to go. Mine are Dungeon Keeper and Stronghold because I never played them. But obviously I've kind of gave up on getting rid of those 2. So
right.
It's like...
So here's my thought process right now. Right. I feel like Dungeon Keeper and Halo Wars 2 are going. However, if that is the case and it's top 10, StarCraft is number 10. It's not any higher than the rest of these games on this list. Because most of these other games play significantly better. Just from a playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with the statement of the fact that it definitely doesn't play as well. And
I'd be willing to put Pikmin at number 9. Because I know that's not going to get any higher.
I like Pikmin, but I guess maybe look at all the ones that people don't want to budge on. Me and Jack were more in the Age of Empires 2 camp than 4. Maybe Age of Empires 4 to go, maybe? Like, I did really...
Okay, so Dungeon Keeper, I think, it's made it as far as it's going to go. I'm glad we talked about it.
Halo Wars 2. Yeah.
Alright, so Dungeon Keeper gone, and you're saying Halo Wars 2, yeah?
I think
That's
so.
10,
Sure?
isn't it?
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 we got. So Halo Wars 2 would make it 10 if it goes.
That's what I mean, yeah. Like,
right.
we've got 2 to go, haven't we?
So now let me do this.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dungeon Keeper definitely. Let's keep Halo Wars there for a second. Let's see what
We'll put Halo Wars back.
transpires.
Yeah. So Dungeon Keeper goes...
So I haven't played Halo Wars 2, right? You're saying it's incredibly unique. If it sounds like that either if Halo Wars 2 doesn't go, it's going to be Age of Empires 4 or me StarCraft. If StarCraft doesn't go, I'm all for it being number 10, but I don't think it's any higher than most of these other games because of purely from a gameplay stance, regardless of how you guys enjoy it. it doesn't hold up that well compared to these other games.
Yeah, I'd say the campaign definitely holds it above some of these, but I don't think like you say, the power thing really holds it back. And I can understand how it can be a frustration more than an enjoyment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think it goes beyond 10, to be honest, anyway. But I do think it's significant enough, and the characters are so like, I mean, hell, Jimmy, you've been holding out on me.
Yeah, the voice lines, yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, the ones that people don't want to budge on.
I think Tiberian Wars is definitely a good 11, like a fringe.
Yeah.
In the same way, I think Halo Wars 2 is realistically going to be a fringe as well.
So what are we...
And depending on who you are, would argue which one you prefer over the other.
Yeah.
I think Age of Empires 4 just categorically plays so well.
It is so good.
Like, I have no issues with like it's everything you want from a modern RTS. It works how you want. The art style is fantastic. The graphics are amazing. They sped up the speed at which you destroy buildings, so it's like less of a
it's not so hard
slugfest.
It used to be.
Yeah, it's a faster paced game than Age of Empires 2, so it ticks a lot of boxes. The problem is it doesn't have the pedigree of an Age of Empires 2.
Yeah, Age of Empires 2 is so much nostalgia.
So is it a toss up
much.
between Age of Empires 4 and Halo Wars 2 at the moment? Is that where we're leaning?
I think Halo Wars 2 is probably going to be most likely to leave. I think me and Dave have more together between us. I think for this particular list that we're doing now, it makes sense that we kind of are, aligned. And I think both of us have played and enjoyed Age of Empires 4.
Yeah.
And I'd more than happily defend Age of Empires 4 over Halo Wars 2.
So Halo Wars 2
So, yeah.
going? Okay.
I think Halo Wars 2.
Okay, so
alongside CNC 3, I think.
Yeah, I've already deleted CNC 3. That's gone. Dungeon Keeper's gone as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so our top 10 RTS games of all time at the moment are Pikmin, Age of Empires 2, Stronghold, Emperor Battle for June, Red Alert 3, Age of Empires 4, StarCraft Brood War, or StarCraft / Brood War, Dawn of War 2, StarCraft 2, and Warcraft 3. Okay. Now, like I said, I think StarCraft should be at number 10, but I have a feeling it depends whether you guys think it should be higher. But that's where I think it should go.
I'm happy to put it at 10 for now, and then we'll see how the list develops and go from there. I think.
Yeah.
At least we've got a starting point. Like I say, I think there's arguments to be said with the character and the story and all of that, and the voice lines elevate it above 10. But what holds it back is maybe its power thing, and it hasn't aged very well. Like there are categorical problems with the game. However, the game hasn't been patched in 25 years, and it still plays well, and like people still find enjoyment.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say that there is a world in which you have to kind of at least recognize that this is the number one streamed game in Korea, which is the esports hub or mecca of the world. And 25 years on without a patch, this game is still balanced well enough that there are Zerg, Protoss, and Terran in the top 8 or top 4 in pretty much every single ASL.
Well,
it's really hard to say that this game is not aged like a fine wine. And there's so many people that love it. I really can't say that it's deserving of that kind of 10 spot or top 10 spot.
Yeah, out of this list and stuff that I want to play, I'd say it's more like top 3 or 4. But like, I know Levi doesn't like that.
It's not,
because to me it's like, would you like to play the campaign of StarCraft 1, or would you like to play like these other options? I mean, also it's kind of hard when like haven't played 3 of these games. So it's kind of hard for me. It's just like, I'd already put those as like the bottom 3 because I haven't played them. So it's kind of like difficult. But yeah,
I mean,
I think I'm going to be winning on this.
There's one game on this list that I want to see in top 3. I think I know what 1 is going to be, and I think I know what 2 might be. So that's why, like, unless Dave has any strong opinions, I'm willing to put Pikmin at number 9. because I think the fact that Pikmin is like a game that is designed for consoles as an RTS and actually works fairly well.
I'm more than happy.
I know, Jack, you haven't played it, and I know that you're like, oh, it's not a game I play, but like this has done so much for the idea of playing a real-time strategy on a console with a controller. Any other RTS has not come close to controlling as well as this game does. And at the time, the GameCube, it was very unique. It's completely different to any of the other games.
Yeah.
But I don't think it makes anything higher than that.
I'm fine with that. We'll put it there for now. Can always get shimmied around if we need to.
What do we think for number 8 of this list?
I would actually probably put something like a Dawn of War 2.
Dawn of War 2?
Or an Age of Empires 4, potentially.
Well, it's kind of hard because I haven't
Hard.
played some of these
I
games.
think because this is a collective list, I think Dawn of War 2. I think some of you have maybe enjoyed it, but not as much as I have.
Right,
So for
so-
that reason, that
Here's the thing. You are the only one here that's played both of these games. I played a very small amount of Age of Empires 4, but I played a shitload of Dawn of War 2 and its expansions multiple times. I really like Dawn of War 2. I personally would put it above Age of Empires 4, and I'm sure Dave would put Age of Empires 4 above Dawn of War 2. So you are now the deciding factor. Do you think Dawn of War 2 goes above Age of Empires 4 or below it?
give me a second. That's a big question.
Yeah.
That's a groundbreaking question. That one.
Because I think it's above Age of Empires 4, and I have played it, but
I agree. They probably should be very close to each other. I think there's an argument either way. Yeah, I like Age of Empires 4 enough to put it above. I just think it does what it sets out to do extremely well. There's no challenges from a pathing perspective. It's, it is a modern game, so it's got that benefit of being newer. But it does everything you want it to do. It's taken on the mantle of Age of Empires 2 and turned it into a really, really good historic game. Put it this way, if I had a kid, I would be more than happy to let them learn history playing Age of Empires 4.
So number 8.
That's a pretty strong argument to put it as a pretty high, good top 10.
Yeah, I really enjoy.
There's no violence in it. It's just historical. It teaches you.
Yeah,
And it's just a fun game to play as well. So you learn and you get to enjoy the game. Like it's a great merging of one genre and one historical. I guess it's 2 genres: history and gaming.
You're learning while playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the educational games.
The easier
the
way of putting it.
past, Yeah.
So Dawn of War 2 at number 8, then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Age of Empires 4, 7.
Okay. That. Okie dokie. Alright, so what misses out on top 5?
5.
Sorry,
yeah.
yeah. What misses out on top 5? So what's going to be number 6?
I'm still. Yeah.
That would go there.
For me, like Emperor Battle for June and like Stronghold, because I haven't played them, but that's more for you guys.
What did I just do? Hang on.
So I'd probably put Age of Empires 2 like mid-table-ish. I'd probably put it more like 5. Yeah, of the ones I've played, like Age of Empires 2, I'd probably put lower than like Warcraft 3, Starcraft 2, Red Alert, Age of Empires 4. Yeah.
Personally, I think I'd have to go Age of Empires 2 at 6.
I was about to
I
say.
think Age of Empires 2 is better than Age of Empires 4. I think it has more people playing now than ever before. I think it's for its time, bearing in mind Age of Empires 4 came out only a few years ago and Age of Empires 2 came out in 1999. There has to be, in the same reason that StarCraft has some of its quirks. Age of Empires 2 it does as well.
Yeah.
But it's stood the test of time so well. It is probably the best of the 90s games from an RTS standpoint.
Yeah. I can go with it.
Emperor
being
Battle
sick.
Tune came out later. StarCraft 2 came out later. So did Red Alert 3. So did I don't know what Stronghold originally came out actually.
2003, I think Stronghold was.
Yeah. So I think personally, I would stick Age of Empires 2 at 6. I think that's going to annoy a lot of people.
That's where I would have put it.
I think that when you look at the pedigree of the games above it, personally, I think they all kind of sit above Age of Empires 2 from an enjoyment perspective. And actual, when you get into nuts and bolts of gameplay itself,
I don't like the game very much.
I would personally enjoy playing Stronghold Original more because of its humor. I'd play Command and Conquer Red Alert 3 because of its cinematics and it's like the way its gameplay is like different and it's like the crux of the Command and Conquer world. StarCraft 2, obviously, Warcraft 3, obviously, and personally, Emperor Battle for June, I absolutely love.
I think. So, I don't like Age of Empires that much anyway, so I'm fine with it. I think it could have been argued in top 5 at number 5, but I'm fine with it sitting there. I feel like this is probably going to make you upset, Jack, but I think number 5 is Warcraft 3. I think all those other games I would rather play. Not that Warcraft 3 is a bad game. I just think I had more fun with the other games.
Well, there's still 2 that I have. Like Stronghold and Emperor. I'm like, well, it's more up to you guys because to me it's like, well, they'd be below.
I'll be honest. I don't want to see the top 1 and 2 be StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 because, like.
I don't think it is.
Well, fair enough. I think StarCraft 2 probably top 2, but
it's not our list. It's a combination list of us three, all kind of
how do you
trying to agree.
How do you feel
suppose,
about Stronghold being at 5, or do you think it's still better than?
Yeah, no, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah,
I think that was where I was going to put it anyway. If I'm being honest.
All right,
cool. I'm fine with that.
And it makes sense for this list.
Yeah.
That made top 5 though.
Yeah. I mean,
because that is definitely a top 5.
I think it's a top 10
RTS
game in general. Like, I think there is no other Castle Sim RTS that does it better than that game. There just isn't. So.
No, even all the new Strongholds don't come close to the original. Like the OGs just they did it. They did it best when they did it first.
Okay, so here's what this is the order I would have it. Because I feel like StarCraft 2 is going to be number 1. Like, just is. I'd probably go StarCraft 2, Red Alert 3, Emperor Battle for June, Warcraft 3. That's the order I would have it in.
I would say Warcraft 3, Emperor, StarCraft 2, Red Alert.
What? Oh, you mean from 1 to 4, yeah?
Warcraft 3, 1.
Right.
Yeah.
You confused me then. I was like, Red Alert 1, what?
I'd probably do StarCraft 2 as number 1. Like StarCraft 2. Then Red Alert 3's got to be in my top 3. Like, that's just brought so much joy to me playing that game. So yeah, I'll probably do like StarCraft 1, Red Alert 3, and then Age of Empires 4.
But yeah,
just like personal bias. That's what I would do as my top 3.
I'm happy to go StarCraft 2, Red Alert 3, Warcraft 3, Emperor Battle for June.
Warcraft 3 only top 3.
I think I know that's
Warcraft 3 has the best stories of any RTS ever in the history of RTS, and I would argue that.
But that's like what I've played.
Even StarCraft 2 is great. I love the story of StarCraft 2. I've watched it. I've played through that game like probably 5-6 times. But Warcraft 3's story, what they go for is.
But like StarCraft 2 to me is like, it's also all the co-op stuff that like me and Levi did. like
That's
all
fair.
the mods and stuff. Like I really like playing some of the mods, like Starbow back in the day, Evolution
Okay.
Complete.
So it's like an overall game. It's
So,
better just
let's-
because
so
of
Also,
its...
the new they're doing the Warcraft 3 and the Starcraft 2. Like that mod's coming along quite nicely. Just stuff like that. Like it feels like if someone was like, you can only play one of these games, it's like you're kind of like, yeah. If someone was like, you can only play
Yeah.
one of these, like Starcraft 2 has just got like so much stuff, so much content.
If we're going
For me.
because that's the thing, right? So if we're going based on like the best we can agree, like StarCraft 2, I think Red Alert 3 for me is a better game to play and come back to because of the silliness. To
Oh,
it,
Red
right?
Alert 3 is so funny.
But
Would I play the multiplayer on it?
It's
Probably not. It's probably only be the
No,
campaign for me, Red Alert 3.
it's a campaign game.
That's why I was
right?
thinking more like, yeah.
But you could say in on that boat that Red Alert 3 has co-op built into its campaign. StarCraft does have campaign stuff, obviously has missions and stuff, but there is an argument to be made. But like the thing is that obviously my personal list would have other Command and Conquer games in it. The fact that Red Alert 3 could be top 2, like that game is like it's just one of the most creative RTS games in terms of unit designs and the units and like the craziness of it. Like I like all 4 of these games. I think if Emperor is either 4 or 3, depending on like I would put it over Warcraft, but I'm happy to put Emperor Battlefield Unit 4 and Warcraft 3 at 3. That's kind of where I'm at with those.
I love Emperor.
I know, like
Is it better than Warcraft 3 of all games, man? See, Warcraft 3 is my number 1 easily in this list.
Okay.
But I could appreciate that. I think as a collective, StarCraft 2 is most likely to be the game we've all played the most and we've all enjoyed the most, followed by Red Alert 3. So then it would be Warcraft 3 versus Emperor.
I could be persuaded.
And one of us haven't played Emperor.
Yeah. I could be persuaded to go StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3, Red Alert 3. Do Red Alert as third? I can be persuaded. Because the multiplayer, I don't... Like, Red Alert 3 is literally just the campaign. Whereas, like, I don't... The campaign is fun and silly, and I enjoy it. But is it as good as the campaign? Like, how dramatic Warcraft 3 is compared to, like, the fun and
Depends what you
goofiness
like,
of
though,
Red
isn't
Alert
it? Do you
3.
prefer doing online stuff, or would you prefer... Yeah, I think...
But I think I'd
what we can agree on is
rather do like
StarCraft.
multiplayer Warcraft 3. I think I'd rather play like.
I've never done Warcraft 3 multiplayer, but I have done
Yes, yeah.
StarCraft
Well,
2.
we've done-
So in the term, I put more
Yeah.
hours into StarCraft 2 than Warcraft 3. I mean, when you look at the metrics, StarCraft 2 probably would be the game I've put the most hours into, spent the most time playing.
Like that's
But
got
I
to
had
be
more fun playing
right?
the campaign in Warcraft 3. So if it's just based on the fact that the campaign's like the best, then yeah, I can see how Warcraft would fall from not being 1,
it's hard.
maybe
'Cause
3.
They're thinking about it as well because each of these games also got expansions that added content. Like Red Alert 3 got the whole commander missions, which is like one of the most fun things I've ever played. Hard as nails, but like there's that. Obviously, Frozen Throne exists for Warcraft, and then the story expansions and things for StarCraft 2.
Yeah, for me it'd be Emperor 4. Then I could be persuaded either way of Warcraft 3 and Red Alert 3. I think they can alternate. I think 1 has got to be StarCraft 2.
I think
just
for the-
by amount of time
For
I've
this
put into it.
list,
Amount of
and then
enjoyment
sort
it's gave me over the years.
Do you know what's funny? It's I think StarCraft 2 is number 1. Yeah, I still think StarCraft 2 would probably be the bottom of my top 5 personal list because I think that despite it being maybe the best RTS to play, I think that I've had more fun with like Command and Conquer 3, things like that, like over the years. But I'm absolutely fine with StarCraft 2
Yeah.
being number 1.
I think it's most likely to be at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's the game we've all played, the one that we can all agree on. If we're doing a combined list, then it makes sense that the game that has the most love between all 3 of us is the mutual number 1.
Yeah. Like
Even if we might personally rank certain things above another. I think realistically, Warcraft 3 is either 3 or 4, and then Emperor would switch. And then I think Command and Conquer Red Alert 3 is 2.
I'll put Emperor Battlefield June at 4. so that Warcraft can be at number 3. I'm fine with that.
I'd rather the top 3 be games that we've all played and enjoyed. Cause, like,
Which would make sense with
yeah.
StarCraft 2, Red Alert 3, and Warcraft 3.
That's what I was thinking. Because Emperor, like, I know you guys played it and stuff, but it's never really interested.
And this is the thing, right, with RTS.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that make a game unique. And, you know, certain things will obviously push preference one way or the other. Like, some people prefer those slower RTS because they can't keep up with the fast pace of StarCraft, and I get that. StarCraft is a very fast-paced game. Whereas some people prefer the cinematic side of things. Personally, I love the cinematics. I think StarCraft and Warcraft and Red Alert 3 all have the best cinematics in this list. In fact, the entire list, going from 1 to 21, they have some of the best cinematics and the most iconic cinematics.
They're also the
and that's something all 3 of us has touched upon as well.
Yeah, they're also the most quotable as well.
Yeah.
Like, they're very quotable.
I mean, the fact that we are still doing Warcraft 3 and StarCraft voice lines even now from 1 and 2, even in our sort of daily Discord chats, you know, it's
yeah.
It you know, a lot of the Warcraft quotes are from like Monty Python and other media, and yet I have never watched those, so I only know those quotes from Warcraft 3. And the fact that, you know, those quotes are so universal that you could almost go to anyone and say a number of Warcraft lines and people will know exactly what game you're referring to just by the quote lines. My favorite color is blue, yellow. Yeah, there's so many like just massive lines that you can pull from those games, and everyone is universal, you know. And yes, some games might be better. They might have like their better power thing. They might play better from a gameplay perspective. But I think when you look at like RTS and ranking them, it's kind of like that combined factor of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because like that of these 4 games that left, Emperor Battle for June is probably my favorite RTS of all time. So it's like I'm fully aware that it's not, you know, like highly touted by any means, but like given the fact that this even made top 4, like I'm fine with that. I think the game is getting the love it deserves right now, and I think in my mind StarCraft 2 was always going to be number 1. So yeah, I guess then in that case I'd go StarCraft 2, Red Alert 3, Warcraft 3, Emperor Battle for June. That's probably what
I think that's what we've agreed on.
Yeah,
yeah,
makes sense.
All right, let's do that.
Quite the list we got there, boys. Finally got that. After a good 2 hours of heated debate, I believe.
I'm sure.
Not that I was looking at the time, to be honest.
No, I mean, I guess we'd all probably have a different looking top 10 of our own choices.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
As a group one, yeah, that sounds good to me.
Right, that's like.
I think it makes sense for us as well because of what we've played together and what we have played and what we've put time into.
Yeah.
Kind of equates.
Yeah, the only one where I'm like, did dirty is StarCraft 1. Did it dirty. It might just because I'm watching ASL at the moment. I'm just like, oh, it's so good. I love this game.
Well, that's the irony of things. I mean, if you took it esports into it, I mean, I'm still watching ASL as well. So, but
so
there we go.
Good.
It is. I actually prefer StarCraft Brood War ASL to StarCraft 2 GSL. 100%. Ironically.
Yeah.
It's funny that
I'd much rather watch competitive. Yeah, StarCraft 1.
Because it's so like StarCraft 2 is predictable, in the sense that everything plays as you expect it to. StarCraft 1, 25 years on, is still being figured out because of its quirkiness.
That's the thing.
And because nothing really is set in, like, things, the way that Dragoons move in a weird direction, or how in a directional movement, like, he still, like, throws people who've been put 30 plus years into the game, like, or 25 plus years into the game, throws them off.
Yeah, that's the thing.
At the top level.
Predictability is definitely why I prefer ASL to GSL. Because, like, it's so much more, like, variety.
It's entertaining to watch, isn't it? And the fact that there's still new builds now, and there's no patches coming. There'll never be another patch for a StarCraft.
Like, players have different feels. It's not like, well, you play Zerg, this is what you do in, like, a you have like a much limited options. Whereas in StarCraft 1, it's like, oh, these people have different play styles. These people do like different things. They prefer different strategies. And it's like, yeah, so good. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, I knew coming into. I think for me personally, I would definitely swap out. I'd probably swap out StarCraft from Command & Conquer 3 there, because I feel like that's the one game on this list where I'm like, that should have been here. But you know, like, I kind of get it. I think overall,
I'd probably replace it. I mean, yeah, I'd probably replace it with Dawn of War 2, maybe Command & Conquer 3. But that's only because I haven't really played Dawn of War 2. So it's kind of hard. It kind of feels bad to say like ones you haven't played. It's like, well, I don't really know.
That's really the part of it, though, isn't it? You know, you've got people with
because it's a
different
group
experience.
list. You can't really be like, well, I haven't played this, so it's going. But seems a bit weird.
Because it's
Well, it's like me and Pikmin, right? Like I never played it, and it's not a game for me. But that's not to say it's not good, and it's not to say that
I would
it's
like to see
well
you try.
loved by people. You know,
I'd like to see Jack.
I like to
Pikmin.
see Jack try and play Pikmin. It's like, it looks all kiddie and like Mario-y, but like it's actually a really good like RTS system underneath it, and like it's really hard.
It's really
Like, it's really difficult to play.
yeah.
Like,
It's a cool concept, and it is interesting because before we got together and did this, like, I went away, looked at that list, pulled stuff off there, and I knew that there were going to be games that I just wanted to mention, and I knew there were going to be games that I have to choose to fight for. And like, I'm happy to see Pikmin in there. I'm happy to see Emperor Battle for June. And I knew like my own biases. Like, as much as I like StarCraft, I just don't hold it in the regards as you two do now. And I'm just talking about my personal play. I'm not even talking about esports or anything like that. Like, I think things like Crossfire Legions, Tempest Rising. There's like other games coming out now that just play so much better. And that's just a personal preference, right?
It just, it was exciting when what's coming out. But yeah, it feels weird to put it on the list.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's like not even like done. It's
yeah,
not done cooking. But yeah, it is true. It's like a lot of things I've played recently have all been like new things, which is quite nice.
You know what, for me personally, I think the one game that I feel like I've almost done dirty given the amount of time I've put into it recently is Age of Mythology with Souls.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't see. I would have swapped that out.
surprised.
Age of Empires. I would have swapped that Age of Empires 2 personally, but I know that was probably never going to happen. But because I think you either have Age of Mythology. And,
I think in a year or two's time, I think it probably would definitely make this list and be a lot higher.
I thought about putting it on here, but I was like, I've only played one mode, and I'm also not the right person to ask because, for the most part, I don't like the gameplay of Age of Empires, like those style of games. Which is ironic because I like Empire Earth, but again, there was no point putting that on here when Age of Empires is here. So. But there you go. So,
I think the problem with Empire Earth, it mimics too heavily Age of Empires. Like, it just feels like a clone.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I like Empire Earth. I think it's a good game, but it has like a million resources, so it overcomplicates what is already a pretty complicated game.
I will say, just to be a bit controversial, there's a game that exists called Aatrox that is a complete rip-off of StarCraft. It actually plays better. I would say that game plays 100 times better, has better AI pathing. Like, okay, it's very generic in terms of how it looks and all that, but the actual gameplay I think is better than StarCraft. Like, straight
Does
up.
it have a Kerrigan, a James Rayner, and an Arcturus Menx though? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
No, but the game, like,
and has it impacted and how does the campaign make you feel after you've played through it?
Ignite your blades.
I just enjoy playing the game. It's just like, oh, it's StarCraft, but it plays better.
Carlos, yeah.
It has no personality.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's got some funny lines in it, but
and
yeah.
That's what makes Blizzard games and used to make Blizzard games so good. Is
Used to like that.
yeah,
Very true. Very true.
it's their personality. It is the personality though.
Yeah.
The personality of Red Alert 3. You've got those characters that follow you throughout the whole series, right? And you build a rapport with them.
And it's just insane amount of people in that game. Like, the amount of casting that's in that game of just every single person.
But it's fun. It adds personality to the
game.
It's
I know.
It's what makes it stand out from a crowd of RTS. And it's what makes StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 stand out from the crowd, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
And hopefully it's what Tempest Rising will have, that combines the love and gameplay of Command and Conquer with the love that Blizzard once gave to StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3.
it is funny looking at the
Hopefully.
top four, and it's like there's 2 Westwood games here and 2 Blizzard games. I mean, that pretty much, like, I know maybe you put like Age of Empires in there. I've forgotten who originally made that, but like, pretty much
Ensemble, I think.
is it Ensemble? Yeah. So you pretty much got like
so.
the 2 90s companies that were battling it out, you know, between. I'll be honest. I'm glad to see that Warcraft and Warcraft 2 didn't make this list. I don't think they've held up very well, but like, I think Warcraft 3 was like their first truly amazing RTS. I mean, you could StarCraft debatable that one, but like Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2 are easily their best playing games in terms of RTS games.
Take that back. It was actually developed by World's Edge and Forgotten Empires.
Oh, the Heroes of Might and Magic developers, isn't it? World's Edge. I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did Age of Mythology Retold at sea to some degree as well.
Yeah. Right, well, there you have it. There are our group picks of top 10 RTS games of all time. Very, very difficult. Very difficult. I think whittling anything down to top 10 is always very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm glad we did this. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. I think it's probably one of the, for the 3 of us anyway, one of the things that makes the most sense of doing, because we all enjoy RTS games. But, yeah, that's pretty much going to do it then. You know, I think we've been here long enough. Was it 2.5 hours? So, thanks for watching as always. If you want to see more content like this, then hit subscribe and like the video as well. I will put some descriptions and links and things in the bottom down there, so you can go visit Jack's channel. And he's currently doing, was it Warcraft 2 at the time of recording this? So
yes, Warcraft 2 just started the expansion.
Nice. So if you want to see some Blizzard RTSing over there, also Warcraft 1's all up there. Age of Mythology, tons of RTSs. If you want to see RTS stuff, go to his channel. Watch this man cheese the hell out of these games.
Gotta enjoy those cheeky strats.
Those
right?
cheekies, yeah. Anyway, so thanks very much for watching. Obviously, thank you for you two for being here and doing this with me. Much appreciated.
I turn up randomly on either channel.
as he does.
I have no channel of my own.
But yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and until next video, we'll see you then.
Bye.